Hello, chat. Hi. Sorry, that was not in the right spot. But hello, chat. We are. Why? I don't care. But why is this a thing here? There we go. Sorry, it's a little weird there. Anyways, hello, chat. Day 23. Karen Reed. We are now moving into the further cross-examination of Dr. Welcher by Robert Alessi. As I stated yesterday, guys, like Alessi. I mean, is it getting done? Yes. Is he getting what he needs to get done? I don't think so. So, do I still think the odds are against Karen Reed right now? I mean, I felt better when Burgess testified, but Welcher's kind of pushing him ahead still. So, yeah, the odds are still against Karen right now. I don't think they're 50-50 anymore. Like, this is going to be bad, but we'll see how today goes. I don't know. Leaves things lacking. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens today. So, I know it's not a full day. I know it's a half day, and I know there's. I guess it's even shorter than anticipated. So we'll get to this. We'll get to all of this. I am very. Like I said, I'm very apprehensive about what's going on. I'm not. I'm not feeling it. But we'll see. We shall see. Phoenix has been a member here for 5 months. Thank you, Phoenix, for your support. I truly appreciate it. Angela, hello. Deanna saying she'll hit the buttons I'm here. Well, thank you. I'm glad that works. So I hope you guys have had a great day today. And yeah, let's get started. They are finishing up cross. I mean, we're not finishing it up, but I've been told it finishes up today. Welcher's done today. I think, and then we'll go from there. So, hi, Sandwich Man. Hello. So let's get to this. You guys remember we will be doing the normal show tonight, so it should be good to go. So here we do this. Okay, we even get closed captioning because it's so early in the day. Remember, tomorrow night, same time, 6 p.m., we are going to get started. So here we go. We are. So we don't get to cheat like normal, but here we go. Oh, hold on one second, chat. Clyde's apparently being mean to Laney, so.
All right. Loading up my aspect, and then I'm going to. Your Honor, I am going to address.
So yesterday we addressed, there were the issues they talked about with having Trooper Paul's report come in and all the other things they wanted to do about questioning Trooper Paul. So I guess we're going to hear the end. We'll hear the second part of that before a judge gives her ruling, which it's Judge Cannoni. She never fucking does what she should do, but let's see. Maybe I'll be pleasantly wrong.
Address the Trooper Paul aspect, and then I'm going to address the Dr. Scorti Bello aspect of Dr. Welcher. With regard to Trooper Paul, I would like to draw the court's attention to the following documents for the straightforward proposition that Dr. Welcher has not only reviewed, he has not only considered, that he has adopted. I went back and looked at the documents, and the basis for this is as follows. Slides 22 and 23 do not just depict Trooper Joseph Paul himself. They show Trooper Paul conducting the CARS analysis on February 1st of 2022. Importantly, these slides highlight the mileage odometer of 12,665, and I respectfully request the court to anchor into that odometer reading because I'm going to show the path that that odometer reading takes through all of the documents, but I want to emphasize the genesis of the odometer reading of 12,665.
No, guys, apparently not. Now, I did some reading, and the defense is going back to this whole idea of the key cycles. So that 1162, they're going to argue that actually happened at a different time. So, sure, the data's right, but they didn't match the data up properly. So we'll see what happens.
Miles is with Trooper Paul as he conducted the CARS analysis on February 1st. Now, here's where Dr. Welcher comes in. Dr. Welcher then uses this key data point, odometer 12,665, as the basis, the starting point for his determination of the locations and times for the events of January 29 of 2022. Dr. Welcher uses his scenario analysis of Ms. Reed's travels, and that's detailed on slides 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28 to calculate and then deduct 36 miles from the odometer according to Trooper Paul on February 1st of 2022 to arrive at an odometer reading of 12,629, which obviously is different from the anchor I talked about of 12,665. So the assumed odometer of 12,629, again, is based on Trooper Paul's CARS analysis in slides 22 and 23, are then used as a tether, a connection to the events recorded by the VCH in the Lexus on the following slides: 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, and 36. I elucidate this and I explicate the slide numbers to show how many there are in Dr. Welcher's report that are rooted in the anchor point and then the change in the deduction of the odometer. So the events memorialized by Trooper Paul on February 1st, including the odometer reading, provide the foundation for Dr. Welcher's entire analysis of the VCH events. The entire analysis of Dr. Welcher's VCH events. That is the adoption aspect of what I started with. 2 more points. In addition, Dr. Welcher testified on his voir dire that the image on the left of slide 36 from his January 30th, 2025 presentation came from a file marked carsj.paul. Now, he did contend that it wasn't the exact same image, but I want to go to this. In fact, the image on slide 36 is from the drone used by Trooper Paul, and the citation for that is page 4, item 11 of the CARS report. That's where the drones are from. Dr. Welcher didn't do any drone activity. He took the drone that he had in his report that was just a little bit different than the one I was showing him.
And I think that's pretty clear because the drone was taken in the snow and Welcher wasn't around to do that. So I have a feeling that the one Welcher had where he had that blank picture, because there was a picture with all the writing on it, then there was that picture without any writing on it. I bet somebody fucking photoshopped or whited it all out, and Welcher used that. And either he doesn't know that, or he was involved in whiting it out to give a clean shot. We don't really know, I think, but some fuckery happened with that, I think is what they're getting at. I thought about this last night, and I thought about it today. I think that's what we're going to get at here.
It comes from page 4, item 11 of the CARS report. And I quote, "The crash scene was documented during the on-scene investigation by utilizing Alicia's GNSS GPS mapping system and a DJI Mavic 2 UAS. This data was input to a computer-aided diagram program, which is IMS 360, here's the key, to produce a scale diagram of this collision. So the DJI Mavic is the CARS team drone. This image of Dr. Welcher's slide 36 is clearly and indisputably from the drone. And the only drone extant is the drone of Trooper Paul and the CARS team. Last point with regard to the Trooper Paul basis in adoption of Dr. Welcher. Mr. Brennan asked Dr. Welcher on voir dire if the image from slide 36 actually came from the CERT team, which is simply not true. The CERT team, actually Lieutenant Tully with the CERT team, took about a dozen photos of the taillight in the snow in the dark around 6 p.m. on January 29, 2022. Lieutenant O'Hara said that the CERT team never traveled back to the scene again. So there were very obviously no photos or images taken by the CERT team in the daylight from the drone. And I again refer to slides 22 and slides 23, where Dr. Welcher said it was more likely than not that it was Trooper Paul in those slides, but the point, whether it's Trooper Paul or not, is completely overwhelmed by what I just argued and presented as specific factual basis for a review, a consideration, and an adoption of the work of Trooper Paul. Unless your Honor has any questions, I would now move on to Dr. Scorti-Bello. Thank you. Dr. Scorti-Bello will be much shorter.
That's the thing. I don't think there was a cert report. There wasn't a cert report, Ag. That's my thought, too. Peter Keys, I do like this. Yes, the MSP's Maverick drone wasn't fucking fiber optically guided. You had to use an FPV drone. Page B, it does matter because they're going to bring this up. I presume they're going to call Trooper Paul on defense. That's why Trooper Paul is important. They're going to bring him up. So it's going to get good. So, and then Platty. Platty, thank you very kindly for five subs, chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, they know where it came from. They totally know. He totally knows. And Rowan Cowart's been a member for 9 months. Thank you, Rowan, for your support. He says, N. Oh. Yeah, we know what's going to happen here. We know what's going on. I think Trooper Paul's coming in. Yeah, Hank dared him. But yes, they should be allowed to cross-examine him. This is shit he relied upon. This is like trial practice 101. We know what Bev's going to say now. But yeah. Angela says don't do it. Well, we're not going to do it, but yes, N is for Newton. Yes. Why is the stream starting so relatively early? Well, we have the 9 o'clock show to get ready for. So.
Mr. Woke, do we have the slide of the Dr. Scorti-Bello it's at the end of the slide presentation with her name on it? Oh. You just give the slide number, please. So it is slide 131. I almost know it verbatim, Your Honor, so I will continue. If Ms. Gilman has a slide or someone could turn it on. Okay,
it's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. I can tell you how she rules 90% of the time. No.
So
she's that much of a hack.
With regard to slide 31, at the very top, and this again is a slide presentation of Dr. Welcher. So up at the very top, and so Dr. Welcher admitted that he not only reviewed the autopsy report, he admitted that he not only considered the autopsy report, he admitted that he adopted it, and I'm going to put adopt in quotes, to the extent that he used it in his slide presentation. And he actually, to show the depth of those three verbs, he's got in orange highlight under final diagnosis, multiple skull fractures, base of skull, and cavallarium. He testified, obviously, about the rear wounds of Mr. O'Keefe. He testified about how he believed those wounds came about. And
remember, chat, he kept on going on and on and on and on about my medical training, my medical classes. It should be all fair game.
He cited as corroboration the highlight of multiple skull fractures, base of skull, and cavallarium. It couldn't be any more obvious, his rooting in this document and reliance upon it. Why else would he have it in his slide presentation? And he's got the name of Dr. Scorti-Bello. And frankly, Your Honor, he didn't fight that whatsoever in the questioning of him. Then you go to underneath cause of death, blood impact, injuries of head, and hypothermia. He essentially repeated that on his testimony. And then if we could, Mr. Wilk, just go to the right. And so you've got highlighted head, skull fracture radiating from the right occipital skull and into the right parietal bone, right and left occipital foci, and bilateral anterior foci and orbital plates. Again, the highlighted means something. He's adopting it. And lastly, the depiction of the skull here, I believe that's Dr. Welcher's handwriting. I believe that's his green, the LR, because I've never seen this green highlighting before. And it could also be Dr. Scorty Bellows. That's another possibility. I'm not sure. But let's assume sort of the most conservative part that it's Dr. Scorty Bellows. The key part is he's got it in there and he is referencing it. So, Your Honor, the last point really for both of them, and I wanted to save this point because it applies to both. With regard to experts, the law is clear. So I think the easiest part to show what our position here is the adoption. But in it, it's clearly shown. Adoption doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You just have to put your expert hands around it, wrestle with it, deal with it. And there is no rule of law that I'm aware of that says you can't question an expert witness unless it's something that the expert witness agrees with. If the expert witness has reviewed it and considered it, and especially if they've rejected it. The easiest is obviously reviewed, considered, and adopted. But it's certainly permissible and important to a defendant's constitutional right, Sixth Amendment to cross-examination, if an expert says or even infers, I reject this. I reject what Trooper Paul did, or I reject what Dr. Scorty Bello did. That is decision-making of an expert that the attorney has a right to be able to test. Why did you reject it? What was your thought process in rejecting it? And that applies to both Trooper Paul and Dr. Scorty Bello, because as I understand it, this witness, Dr. Welcher, is not, he says, I'm not relying upon Dr. or Trooper Paul, which is completely false based upon what I just showed. But even if he just rejects it, in addition to what he has done, we have the right to test and get answers as to why he did it. And the same with Dr. Scorty Bello. Once he goes to this level, Your Honor, I believe it's a straightforward right, especially of a defendant in a criminal trial, and especially of the stakes and the charges this high, that we get to test it. What I think, lastly, my point here, Your Honor, the Commonwealth is doing is this. The Commonwealth knows Trooper Paul and Dr. Scorty Bello are problematic for their theory and their narrative. Trooper Paul has got, if you work backwards from his key cycles, you end up with 1162-2, their key cycle. That ends up being not in front of 34 Fairview, but it ends up when the Lexus is in the possession of the state. That is the result of that. And that was something that was addressed square head on in the first proceeding. We're not coming up with some fanciful ghost in the second trial. This was gone through extensively in the first proceeding. And I understand this is a new trial, but it goes to show it's not something coming out of the blue, etc. And with regard to Dr. Scorty Bello, it was remarkable on the redirect that I've never seen a prosecution essentially go after the opinions and conclusion of their own medical examiner when they basically said, medical examiner, I can't call this a homicide. The manner of death is undetermined. And the medical examiner says, I don't see any motor vehicle impact injuries. There couldn't be anything more apt, more probative than whether or not the injuries to the decedent are from a motor vehicle. The Dr. Welcher himself is saying they are. That's the essence of his opinion. It's the essence of his test. We get to be able to, respectfully, Your Honor, say, well, wait a minute. You said you looked at the autopsy. You said this. You highlight it. But you're going against the medical examiner on whether there's motor vehicle injuries. The experts can't, Your Honor, cherry pick and choose from documents. They can't use it as a shield and a sword. They can't put up, for example, Dr. Scorty Bello's autopsy report, cherry pick things to benefit from them, and then and they did it on direct. And then all of a sudden on cross, when we want to go and test that, they say, oh, no, you can't do it. Your Honor, this whole argument is absurd. And it's antithetical to the Sixth Amendment. And even if, and this is my last point, even if this were merely a civil case, this would be routine cross-examination against the expert on the side. So in conclusion, Your Honor, I respectfully request that Ms. Reed and her team be allowed to exercise their constitutional right to cross-examination, the keystone of a defense in a criminal trial, cross-examination, and that they be able to take the shield that the prosecution is trying to put on us and be able to combat the sword that the prosecution has put forward with regard to trying to cherry pick from this.
It's a very good argument.
And
I like it.
We get to proceed undaunted from all the serial objections yesterday that interrupted my cross-examination. Thank you, Your Honor.
So that was very well done by Robert Alessi. Yes, this is an entire fundamental. This is foundational, guys. This is the Sixth Amendment, the right to confront your accusers, the right to mount an effective defense. This is about as serious as it gets. And the state has been allowed to jerk around and cause problems with that. Every time they got somewhere, Hank would jump up and cause a problem. This has been obstructive, and their witness did this, not anybody else. They have every right to then go up against that accuser. Because remember, she's being accused by Dr. Welcher. Dr. Welcher saying this happened. Karen is allowed to confront him. Rightfully so. So she's going to confront him and do it. She should be allowed to confront him. It's very easy. And I think it's fair game. Dr. Welcher put all this crap in the report. Clearly he used it. Well, we don't have those people. Well, the state has every right to bring those people in. They did not. Remember, it is not the defense's job to produce things. So they should have every right to cross-examine. The fact it's not happening is a load of horse shit right now.
What arises from the litany of complaints by the defense is that there is no constitutional right to usurp the rules of evidence. There is no case law, as much as they urge the court and yell out the word case law and constitutional right and Sixth Amendment right. There is no case law to support what they are trying to do. It is a simple endeavor that is clouded by all the rhetoric that they offer. And it is clear, and the court knows what they're trying to do. They're trying to pit the inadmissible opinion of a non-testifying witness against a testifying witness. They have asked Dr. Scordi-Bello what her opinion is. And although it's not consistent with our reading of the case law, they were allowed to introduce that it was an undetermined cause of death or mechanism. That evidence is already in front of the jury.
Yeah.
But they can't simply repeat it because it sounds good to them or they think it's helpful. Simply because a witness uses a document or looks at it or uses part of an autopsy does not let them regurgitate an opinion that's already in evidence to try to phantom cross-examine an expert. Dr. Welcher is clear. He did not rely on Dr. Scordi-Bello's conclusion that this cause of death is undetermined. In fact, as an aside, he said, I wouldn't, because she's not qualified for that. And so this is a simple game. Let's pit one witness against the other and suggest that the Commonwealth's witnesses are inconsistent.
Wait, she's 100% qualified to determine cause of death. Are you serious? She's not determined to She's not qualified to determine cause of death? Is that really what you're saying, Hank? No. And the Sixth Amendment is uber alles. Like, come on.
Take it a step further. They want to relive what they think is their past success last year in this case without actually calling the witness. They want the jury to hear their perspective that a past witness had confusion in his analysis, but they don't want to call the witness. They want you to allow them to do that, not just shouting it out and have sustained objections, which has happened this entire case, but they actually want you to be able to allow them to ask Dr. Welch these questions, which he did not rely on. We had a voir dire. He was clear. He did not rely on the analysis of Trooper Paul. He did not rely on that determination or undetermined determination by Dr. Scordi-Bello. It is that simple. They try to throw some fluff out and they throw around some documents. We have slide 22. Simply because there's a suggestion that Trooper Paul might be the hand in the picture is not an anchor. It's not a tether. It's not an adoption. It's no such thing. In fact, if you look at that photograph, it was taken by Zach Clark. So by the rationale of the defense, they should now be able to ask Dr. Welcher any question they want about Zach Clark's opinions, efforts, what Zach Clark did. It is a photograph that he considered, not an opinion, not an analysis. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Dr. Welcher's analysis or opinions. In fact, the evidence is to the contrary. He came out, conducted an independent analysis, did all of the work himself, considered documents, and he was specific about what was part of his opinion and what was not. And this information was not part of his opinion. They turned to the Google map. Bit misleading. This was generated by Google. Two separate people use the same program, but when you look at the CARS report and you look at Dr. Welcher's PowerPoint, it's different. Dr. Welcher's has a map on the side, and when you look at the numbers themselves, the CAR report says minimum 36.1, maximum 38.8. Dr. Welcher's slide, 37.9, 38.1. So in no way did he adopt, anchor, tether, use as any basis. In fact, his is different and separate, as all of his analysis is. And so the portrayal of this necessity of information so they can sneak in inadmissible opinions with no witness is simply improper. There is no case law. There is no legal support for it. They cannot reach back into last year and manipulate a witness and ask him about something that he didn't rely on because it feels good or it sounds good for their case. Dr. Welcher did not rely on Trooper Paul's analysis or reports, and he did not rely on the conclusion of Dr. Scortibello of undetermined.
Are you sure about
they
that?
Want to call Trooper Paul? Well, maybe they can try to do that, but Dr. Welcher is not the right witness for it. These opinions to try to do a credibility value is a core preclusion in criminal law, a core preclusion. You cannot vouch for the credibility of another witness. You cannot comment. It's like asking, did the police officer lie when he said the light was red? It's the absolute same analysis. It just has a lot of icing on it.
Is it?
Very briefly, bring the jury. Start getting the jury ready, please.
See, this is how big of a bitch Bev is. Alrighty, guys, I already told you. I already know how she's going to roll. Bring in the jury. I don't fucking care, is what she's saying. She is an awful fucking judge. She's a horrible fucking judge. People need to say that to her face because she needs to be called out for being a piece of shit. So all she is just disgusting. Gonna get Karen Reed sent to fucking prison. That's what's going to happen here. So. Absolutely disgusting by Bev.
Your Honor, with regard to Trooper Paul, Mr. Brennan did not address 80% of the slides that I addressed that showed the basis. When he talked about the picture, making it seem like the picture is the only thing we're relying upon, there's clearly other items. But even the picture, Your Honor, the purpose of the picture is it's got the odometer reading. That's why they took the picture, and that's the tether. So the photo is completely relevant. It's not who's in it. It's the fact that that's the odometer reading they're using. Next point with regard to case law. Mr. Brennan presents none to go against the common sense law that has been there for years. The other thing, Your Honor, is with regard to Mr. Brennan keeps trying to put my arguments into a credibility, like we're trying to attack the credibility of Trooper Paul. He says that we're trying to redo last trial. To the contrary, Your Honor, it's the Commonwealth that brought Trooper Paul into the second trial through Dr. Welcher and Dr. Welcher's reliance on all the work of Trooper Paul. They've brought it in here, and because of that, we get the right to cross-examine it. Last point. This is not about credibility. He keeps saying something that's not happening, that we're going to attack the credibility of Trooper Paul. What we want to do is to say to Dr. Welcher, you have brought up Trooper Paul. You have used his odometer reading. That odometer reading tethers through to Google. It tethers through everything you're doing. It's the foundation. But what you're ignoring, Dr. Welcher, are all the key cycle results that come from that odometer reading that you relied upon. Dr. Welcher himself can't cherry pick, grab things that he needs from Trooper Paul to do his analysis, and then the Commonwealth say, but you can't go after that because it somehow has Trooper Paul's name on it. It's illogical, Your Honor, and it's incorrect under the law. Thank you.
So I disagree with you, Mr. Alessi. I'm not allowing in the line of questioning regarding Trooper Paul, and I'm not.
Because you're a hack. Because you're a hack. This is the problem, guys. A bad judge can fuck you so many ways. And Bev Cannoni is a horrible fucking judge. And that's the thing. Like, she does good other times, and she's, for some reason, she just, like, gets struck with a case of the retards here. And she just, like, nope, I'm going to act like a tard, and I'm never backing down. I'm always right. And she just tards out full speed at this. So, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you can do. So, I don't know what you can do, chat. So, it's not a surprise she fucked him over.
Allowing the line of questioning regarding Dr. Scortibello. So that's my ruling. Let's bring the jury in. Well, come over here because they're on their way.
Her nickname was literally Auntie Bev. Stop defending her and Anthony on anything. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. She apparently was good before, but she's been fucking awful. Is she elected or appointed? It doesn't matter. People are just abused. Like, it's not even bias. It's incompetence. Is that Trooper Paul line of questioning appealable? Like in an interlocutory sense? No. But certainly they can appeal that objection. But remember, this is going to be one little thing in a sea of objections that get cited. So, real quick, though, we got some things to catch up on here in chat real before we get to the heat of the matter. Rowan Coward for $2 is back of the bus, Grays. This is a green neighborhood. And Rowan for 5 subs. Thank you, Rowan. Peter Key says, I realize you don't have a forge. I do. I have a propane forge. But how does one clean a squirty bellows? If you're making a joke, funny. If you're asking seriously, I do not know the answer. American Dreamers says Welcher's one lazy expert. Yes, he is. Carolyn says, I don't think Sean is a Sixth Amendment absolutist. MLS says, wow, this is a great argument. It's lost on Bev. Yes. It is, sadly. Hope you're doing well, David. Jesus loves you for $5. Thank you for the super chat. He's saying, if you have the facts, you hammer the facts. If not, you pound the table and re. Yes, and Hank is very good at reeing. I'd say, though, as a defense attorney, you have to be good at pounding the table and reeing like a tard. You have to. Whiskey77 for $10 says, Ag biochemist is Dr. Judson Walter's #1 fanboy. He has his picture above his bed and in his office. You heard it here, chat. Ag loves Dr. Welcher. They probably the same level of scholarship, too. And then Whiskey77 for 20 subs, chat. Let's go. Let's do this. Just coming in and finding those greens and just taking care of business. All the greens out there, chat. Just no more greens allowed. Just look at those gray cars getting destroyed. We're not tolerating your kind here, Grays. Keep moving. Keep moving. Thank you, Whiskey, for your support and your generosity. Thank all of you guys so far for your support and your generosity. So, let's see. What did I miss? Can we get a good re? No, I don't have a good. Oh. So, let me see here. All right. Yeah, Grace for life. Suffer, Sean. Thank you, Rose. Oh. So, let's keep going here, chat. They got a sidebar. Let's see.
And Dr. Welch, we're going to ask you to not turn on your computer yet.
Okie
Thank you.
And Your Honor, if I could, smartwatches that are receiving text messages during his direct, if we can make sure that that does not occur.
Get my email.
Okay, or just don't look at your watch. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
He's like, what? That's
Morning,
not
Dr.
fair.
Welcher.
Good morning.
Do you know whether there was glass found on the bumper of Miss Reed's Lexus SUV?
My understanding there was, yes.
Did you reach a conclusion on whether the glass on the bumper came from the drinking glass that you assert Mr. O'Keefe was holding at the time of the alleged impact?
I didn't have an opportunity to inspect the glass, but the glass was broken and there was glass on the bumper. That's all I know.
So you, as you sit here today, you have no basis to conclude that the glass on the bumper came from the glass that you depict as having been held by Mr. O'Keefe at the time of the alleged impact. Is that correct?
Well, you're mixing a couple things.
No, Dr. Welcher,
So
if you can just answer my question. If
trying
I
to.
need to rephrase it, I will.
Um,
I'll ask it a different way.
Please.
Wow. Okay. Alessi's back on track, asking some. Alessi's got his fire back. After the way that happened yesterday, I was very concerned that this guy was going to walk all over him, but apparently Alessi's back in the fight. He got his groove back, chat. Hopefully this is good.
You have no basis as you sit here today to conclude that the glass on the bumper came from a drinking glass connected to Mr. O'Keefe, do you?
Well, we have a picture of a broken glass at the scene. So I wouldn't say we have no basis. We don't necessarily have enough to conclude it's from it, though.
Do you You had depictions in your test with Mr. O'Keefe holding a glass, correct?
Correct.
My question is, you have no evidence to show at all other than, and I'm talking evidence, testing information. You're saying you have no evidence that shows that the glass on the bumper is not the same glass as you showed on your slides as being found supposedly at the scene. You have no test evidence that that's the same glass, do you?
So again, the one I have in my testing obviously was not the same glass. We have pictures of a broken bar glass in the snow near where Mr. O'Keefe's body was. We have glass fragments on the rear of the bumper. That's the extent of my knowledge on the correlation between those two.
So you said you reviewed the reports and testimonies of various Commonwealth representatives, correct? That's in your report.
Correct. In the initial.
Right, correct. And some of those reports included forensic scientists who work for the Massachusetts State Police, correct?
I believe that's correct.
And you put those in your report as documents that you reviewed, correct?
Correct.
And as you sit here today, it's your testimony. You don't know whether in any of the reports of the Massachusetts State Police,
buddy,
there is an answer to the question of
this is good cross-examination, chat. This is good cross.
whether there's any connection at all between the glass found in the snow and the glass on the bumper.
I recall it being inconclusive.
Oh, so you recall that the testing was inconclusive?
I don't remember what testing they did, but for example, when they put the taillight fragments back together, they were able to deduce that the fragments were from the taillight. I don't think they attempted to do that with the glass.
Assume that there has been testing of the glass on the bumper, and assume that that testing conclusively determines that the glass on the bumper is not the glass that was found in the snow.
Okay.
Assume that.
Okay.
How would that affect your analysis?
I'd want to know where the
That would be very fucking important.
glass came from, but we still have a whole bunch of other elements. So I don't think it would affect the end results.
So
Okay, come on now. That wouldn't affect your end result? That there's mystery glass showing up in the scene? Well, hold on. Come on, sir. Come on. This is good now. This is good, chat. Yes, and this is how you make him look stupid. You're telling me that wouldn't completely change everything? It wouldn't cause you to go, wait, all my data's suspect now. People have intervened in my data. My data may be manipulated. That's what a real scientist would say. Walter cut out a bar glass. Why? Because he bought the same style of glass that John O'Keefe was found with and used it for testing. And it's the same type of glass that Rentschler and Wolf were shooting out of a potato gun. So, yes, they have different mass that changes the force calculations too a little bit. So, Scare Dog Bone says, yes, he's a very well-paid hack. Yes. Megan McCarthy, you are right. He is a pack. Thank you for being here, by the way. Silos says, maybe it's space glass. I don't know, but thank you for being here. Thanks for stopping by. So,
would it have any part in your analysis with my assumption that the glass on the bumper is not the glass that's associated with the broken glass that was supposedly found in the snow?
Yes, I mean, we always want to have as much answers or as many answers as possible. So I would want to know if we could figure out where it came from.
And wouldn't the fact, assuming that the test results show there's no connection, meaning the glass on the bumper is different from the glass in the snow, wouldn't that be contrary to your theory of what happened in some way?
yes. Yes.
It depends on when the glass was actually broken. The glass was in his hand. At least that's the testimonial evidence I've seen. So It depends on whether it's broken from contact with the rear of the vehicle
What
or
a-
broken with contact on the ground.
What a worm.
Assume that the glass on the bumper is not the glass that was found in the snowbank. Doesn't that, at least in part, contradict your hypothesis as to whether there was contact by the Lexus with Mr. O'Keefe at 34 Fairview?
Yes.
So if you recall on my slides, nowhere did we discuss that in my slides. So no, it wouldn't contradict it. I would want to know where that glass came from.
But you didn't seek that information, did you, sir, in your analysis to determine where the glass came from?
Of course I did. I read the reports about it.
And then what did you do? Did you follow up on the reports? Did you do anything assigned? You said, I'd want to know where it came from. Okay, well, did you follow up where it came from? No. Well, there you go.
You sit here and you say you don't know the answer. There's steps you could have taken to get that answer quite easily. Couldn't you have, sir?
Not me. That's a material science expert.
You could have asked.
You've been communicating with Lieutenant Tully, haven't you?
Correct.
Yes. Exactly.
You couldn't have asked Lieutenant Tully that question?
To my knowledge, he's not a material science expert.
But could he have told you the result of testing on that glass on the bumper and whether it was any way associated with the glass found in the snow? Wouldn't that have been an easy question to ask him? Just, has there been testing, and if so, what's the results?
Yes, but my knowledge from reading the reports was it was inconclusive.
But you didn't read all of the reports, did you, sir?
Apparently not.
Let's turn to another topic.
You little
Laser scans.
wormy scumbag.
Part of your analysis involved conducting laser scans of portions of 1 Meadows Avenue, the house of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
Those laser scans were used, at least in part, to answer the question of whether the collision between Ms. Reed's SUV and Mr. O'Keefe's Chevy Traverse at 1 Meadows at approximately 5:07 a.m. on January 29, 2022, caused the right rear taillight of the Lexus to break, correct?
Correct.
And in that analysis, inches literally matter, correct?
You want to get it as accurate as possible.
And the reason why inches matter is because, and we're going to get to this, you tried, and you did it in your slide presentation on direct, you tried to see whether the Lexus lined up with the Traverse such that there could be a break of the taillight. That was part of your analysis, correct?
So the main part of the photogrammetry was to determine the speeds and the angles and the degree of overlap on the vehicles. And then we also looked at the damage from the video, actually it's just where the snow was knocked off the rear of the Chevy Traverse, and document the height of that.
You said the main part. I don't want to engage in semantics. I want to go to my question of, isn't part of the laser scan analysis to determine whether or not those two vehicles align sufficiently such that the Lexus...
Get this man a gun. Alessi is hunting today. Where was this man yesterday? Where was this man yesterday? Man, Alessi is out there hunting for scalps. Yes. Apparently not. Yes. Alessi we needed this guy yesterday. The Tom Gully shows he can't answer whether inches matter. Yes, well, maybe that's his autobiography title. But remember that we have Shannon Burgess out there too, so that tells you their quality of equipment. Alessi doing better? Yes. He's come out the door swinging. He is hunting. He's swimming through the water with a knife in his mouth. He's getting ready to cut Colonel Kurtz's head off. So, yeah, Alessi went out and got a hooker last night or something. He went out and murdered a hooker and gained her energy. So, here we go, chat.
This could break. The taillight of the Lexus could break coming into contact with the Chevy Traverse. Wasn't that part of your analysis, at least in part?
Yes.
Okay. And in that analysis, inches literally matter, correct?
It can, depending on which way you're going inches.
So the Ring camera at 1 Meadows, you're familiar with that Ring camera, right? At
Correct.
1 Meadows? That Ring camera at 1 Meadows was used as part of the laser scan process that you and your firm Aperture performed at 1 Meadows on October 2nd, 2024. Do I have the date correct?
I believe so, but like the videos were not literally used during the laser scans. We took the laser scans, the video, combined them together in a process called photogrammetry.
Okay, let's get this down to the fundamentals. You used, and that was my question, Your Honor, if we could publish the exhibit with regard to the ring camera.
Sure. What exhibit is it?
Yeah, I've got my. Dr. Welcher, you recognize that ring camera as being at One Meadows. You discussed it, as a matter of fact, on your direct testimony, correct?
Yes.
Now, that ring camera was utilized as part of your laser scan process, correct? It was used.
So you're confusing laser scan and photogrammetry. The video, the laser scanners are together used in a photogrammetry. The camera and the laser scans are not used necessarily with each other.
Was that ring camera used for any part of your work?
Absolutely, the photogrammetry.
I just need to be able to finish my question, sir. Was that ring camera used for any part of your work?
This is how you control a witness, chat. This is how you control a witness. This is what you need to do. When he starts getting snitty with you, you firmly, but you gently say, sir, I'm not done answering my question. Could you please let me finish asking it? There are ways you could control this man. Alessi was not ready for this. But Alessi took his time, reconsolidated, and is ready to go again. This is how you handle it. And yes, photogrammetry is 3D mapping, but he's trying to hide. Welcher's a liar, so Welcher's hiding wherever he can. So here we go, guys. This is good stuff. Yes, Robert Alessi, Bob Alessi is his name. He is the global vice chair for DLA Piper, the third largest law firm in the world. And he is a global vice chair, meaning he's a senior partner at one of the biggest law firms in the world. It's also the same law firm Alan Jackson works at. But Bob Alessi's like the swinging dick of DLA Piper. So Bob Alessi's probably top 100 or so attorneys in America, if not the world. So Alessi's a very smooth operator.
One Meadows on October 2nd, 2024.
Yes.
And it was used for what purpose?
In the photogrammetric process, to establish the position and dimensions of various things in the video. So then we could go back and overlay the vehicles and track the tracks in the snow, as well as look at the damage to the vehicles.
Right. So this was used as a basis, not the only one, to establish dimensions of the other work that was done in analysis at One Meadows, correct?
Correct.
You can take that down, Mr. Wolf. You know that the ring camera at One Meadows, in existence when Aperture did the work on October 2nd, 2024, was different than the ring camera that was in existence on January 29th of 2022, the date where you went through to see if those two vehicles aligned. Is that correct? The cameras are different.
That is correct.
And you know that the cameras are different, and you knew that as part of your analysis, correct?
Correct.
Did you document the differences between the two cameras as part of any work performed at One Meadows?
Yes.
And did you measure any differences there might have been between the location of the newer ring camera from the older one that was in existence on January 29th of 2022?
No, what we did is use the current ring camera in conjunction with the old ring camera, and with the laser scans, we're able to, again, map the points onto the scene. That's why I showed you the report from the photogrammetry software that reported our error.
Sir, my question was just measurement.
You just talked about the mapping and the photogrammetry software. We use it for mapping, so you just acknowledge it's all the same thing. What a worm. What a worm.
Your process, did you measure the difference
I don't believe so.
between where the old camera was and where the new camera was?
No, it was angled slightly more to the right, though.
How would you know that if you were not retained on January 29th of 2022? How would you know where the original angles were?
Because when you look at the first camera, the one on
Henry
January
H. will get
22nd,
to this in a minute.
it's here. The new one is slightly over to the right.
That's an eyeball approximation analysis. That's not a measurement, correct?
Well, I don't know that we actually measured it, but we accounted for it and corrected for it. But you can see, for example, what the original one shows, for example, to the left-hand side compared to what the new one shows to the left-hand side, and it's angled more to the right.
Sir, you have experience with Ring cameras, correct?
I do.
And I think a lot of members of the public have experience with Ring cameras. You can move just the camera portion ever so slightly and change significantly the angle of the camera, can't you, what it captures? Just a small turn.
Potentially.
Right. Even a millimeter turn can make a change. A 2 millimeter, a 1 inch can make a significant change with regard to what the camera captures, correct?
Good, sure.
So, did you measure whether the newer camera that was present on October 2nd, 2024 was installed to the left? And I'm talking measure, to the right, to the top, or the bottom relative to the camera that was there on January 29th of 2022.
So we solved for the camera.
I'm asking if you measured some.
No, we didn't measure.
So let's talk about some other differences with regard to cameras and Ring cameras. Different Ring cameras can have different levels of distortion, correct?
Potentially.
Cameras, well, are you saying that all Ring cameras have the same level of distortion?
No, but again, they're mass produced. So you could have some that have the same exact distortion. You could have some that have different.
And you don't know the comparative distortion between what I'm just going to now refer to as the old Ring camera that was there January 29, 2022, and the camera that you saw on October 2024, which I'll refer to the new camera. You don't know the difference in the distortion between those cameras. It's just different today, do you?
So we know enough information that if the distortions had been different, our errors would have been too high. And so the fact that our errors are within acceptable, or what's called an RMS error, we know that the distortions are similar enough to give us accurate measurements.
Just say you don't know.
Speculation. That is not data. That is not a measurement. You didn't measure the distortion, sir, did you? If the cameras, you didn't have the old camera to do it.
Just say you don't know, sir. It's okay to say, no, I don't know.
We didn't, but we had images from the old camera. And then when we get images from the new camera and solve those camera properties and then overlay data from the old images to the new images with the point clouds, if that distortion is too great, we will have too high of errors in our project, which is why I showed the error report from the photogrammetry process to show that we have checked for that and documented that our errors are in acceptable range so that we have confidence in our results.
You do not have information from the manufacturer of Ring. You didn't present it, and you don't have it as to what is the acceptable level of distortion for the analysis that you did, do you, sir?
The
You have that from Ring.
I don't have it from Ring, but I don't need it from Ring.
So now let's go to, if cameras have different levels of distortion, that would change the analysis in reconciling the difference between their angles. That's a pretty straightforward proposition, sir, wouldn't it?
So it depends on how much difference it is, but we have accounted for that.
With which model of the Ring camera was present at One Meadows on January 29, 2022? Which model?
I don't know. I'd have to go look through the data.
Do you believe I'm not going to take up the time to have you look, but do you really believe you've got the model of the Ring camera that was in existence on January 29th of 2022?
I don't know.
You didn't present it in your direct testimony, did you, sir?
I did not.
So do you have the model of the Ring camera that was present at One Meadows on October 2nd, 2024?
No.
So you don't have even the model for either one of them?
Nope, but we have videos from both of them and scans of the scene.
So now let's talk about another aspect of Ring cameras. They have mechanisms, as I was talking about earlier, that allow the user to adjust the camera angle, correct?
Correct.
And do you know whether there was a difference in the camera angle between the two cameras?
Yes, as we already discussed, there was a slight difference in the
But
angle.
you don't have a measurement of that, right, sir?
Correct.
Okay.
But we accounted for it.
So wouldn't a difference in models of Ring cameras be relevant at all to your analysis of trying to reconcile any differences between them?
So if you have video from both of them and you have laser scans with three-dimensional geometry of the scene, you can go in and it's called a reverse camera analysis and solve for the distortion properties. The scans give you the real world dimensions. So once you know the real world dimensions, you can then go in, and then solve for the camera lens properties based upon the real world distortions. So for example, if there's a little bit of bending at the end, the laser scan data will show that, and you can correct for that knowing information about the laser scanner
I'll
or
ask
the
the
laser
question.
scan data.
I'm sorry, I thought you finished, sir. going to ask the question again because it's a narrow question. Wouldn't knowing the difference in the models be relevant? All I'm asking, wouldn't it be relevant to your analysis of reconciling the differences to them? Wouldn't it be relevant?
No.
So you think the different models are irrelevant to any process you occasioned at one? It's irrelevant.
So the analysis of the video itself is more important than the models?
I'm not asking if it's more important. I'm just asking, would it be relevant?
No, I don't believe it'd be relevant.
Now let's go to another aspect of the cameras. Are key parameters in a camera that the software needs to know focal length?
It is.
Is imaging size something that is an important parameter in a camera?
Yes.
Are sampling characteristics an important parameter in cameras?
Can be.
Is the principal point, you understand that concept, sir? Is that an important parameter in a camera?
Define how you're using principal point.
Sure. A principal point of an image is the point where a camera's direct line of sight, called, as you may know, the optical axis, intersects the image plane. Does that
Gotcha,
sound
yes.
familiar?
Mhm.
So isn't that the image's mathematical center, the principal point?
More or less, yes.
And for high accuracy photogrammetric work, it's important to know if the lens is mounted centered over the image sensor due to the small manufacturing variances, correct?
Could be important.
And if the principal point is the center of the image.
Okay.
That's relevant. So doesn't that affect the mathematical calculation of the light ray geometry?
It could.
So the variance in manufacturing between cameras is a known issue. Do you agree?
I do.
There's small manufacturing variances that affect one of the key components of the fundamental parameters of the camera, namely the principal point, right?
Correct.
Did you perform the camera calibration of the camera in place in October of 2024?
Yes. So within photogrammetry, we calibrated the photogrammetric analysis to the camera.
Did you address the principal point in that calibration? Do you have documentation that you addressed that important factor, the principal point?
So the checking of the RMS error in the software takes into account, sums up all the potential errors in the measurements, which would include that.
Okay. Sir, you know the importance of all of these topics because the output of all the work Aperture did at One Meadows, almost all of it springs from that camera, correct?
It starts there.
Okay, it starts there. And if the starting point is wrong, then where you go from the starting point is going to be at least potentially wrong, correct?
Potentially.
Would you agree that Ring cameras have a swiveling mechanism so that the user can adjust the camera angle?
Some do.
Do you know whether the camera that was in existence on January 29, 2022 had a swiveling mechanism?
I believe it did.
Believe, do you know?
I do not know for a fact, but
You
those
don't-
style of Ring cameras
Just say
on
you
the
don't
surveillance
know.
have adjustability that includes angle.
But you don't know whether the camera that was there, the specific camera on January 29, 2022, had a swiveling mechanism or not, correct?
Correct.
And do you know whether the camera that you saw in October of 2024 had a swiveling mechanism on it?
It did.
And where did you document the fact that it had a swiveling mechanism?
I think we have photos of the camera.
Did you document it in writing, and did you document the tolerance of the swiveling mechanism?
No.
Let's go to, and again, all of the camera, this camera that you use is the starting point for your laser scan and photogrammetry process, correct?
Correct.
All right. Let's go to another topic. On your direct testimony, as I recall, you stated essentially from various information that you lined up in the video, and we're talking about the lining up of the Lexus with the Traverse. And this is at One Meadows. And so, as I understand what you did, sir, is you took what are called point clouds, 3D images, created them for the Lexus. You took created 3D images, synonym point clouds of the Traverse, and then you attempted to line them up to determine, among other things, whether they would align sufficient so that the Lexus could line up and potentially hit the Traverse such that the tail light of the Lexus could be broken. Was that at least part of your analysis?
That was part. There was more.
So you showed a slide, a few slides, and with your honor's permission, what I'd like to do is to start with slide 90.
Do you have any problem with Dr. Welch keeping his printed copy that he was using?
I have no problem with the printed copy, Your Honor.
So, I'm sorry, what slide again?
9-0.
Your Honor, my printed copy tiny.
Okay.
Can I
Can
pull
you
it?
see the?
Yes, yeah.
Does that slide that's part of your presentation depict a view from the top of the Lexus on the right and the Chevy Traverse on the left?
Correct.
And is that depicting contact between the two vehicles?
It is.
Now let's zero in a closer look, and that is a contact point. Am I correct?
Correct. I mean, there's multiple points. There's more than
Multiple
one.
points, but it shows more clearly the contact between
Correct.
the two vehicles. Now, if we could the next, and that is number 91, Mr. Wolf. So, Your Honor, 91. I think these are just going to go in order for a few, and I'll keep announcing them. So, this is 91, same vehicles, just a different viewpoint. Is that correct, Dr. Welcher?
Correct. This and the next
I
slide.
just want to stay
I know.
with this one. I
Hold
just
on a
asked the
second.
question, does it show the contact?
So go ahead and answer now.
This slide and all the other slides, we're trying to show the angle of contact, but because it's two-dimensional image, you're losing some perspective. For example, here you're seeing the chrome piece on Mr. O'Keefe's Chevrolet, which is on the right. You're seeing it obviously behind where the Lexus is. So we were trying to show it at a whole bunch of different angles to try and illustrate the degree of closeness or lack thereof.
All right. So
Thank you.
is it correct that on your direct examination, you said in sum and substance, we looked at the degree of overlap and there's only about a 2 to 3 millimeters of overlap between the vehicles? Is that what you recall saying on direct?
That is correct.
And that you stated that
I agree. This would
supposed
trash
2
the
to
rear
3
quarter
millimeters
panel.
of overlap was insufficient to cause the taillight of the Lexus.
At the very least, this type of contact would have left significant damage. Like there would have been some panels pushed in. Like it would have been very observable damage. Like not necessarily that you'd have to get new parts replaced, but something you might have to get a dent puller for or something like that at least.
To contact the rear of the Chevrolet.
Or heat gun it, maybe something.
Like you recall saying that?
That's correct.
Now, I would like you to look at that.
Thanks, Jake.
This is
Appreciate
from
it.
your slide presentation. Is that not showing contact between the two vehicles?
Oh, it absolutely is not. What you're seeing is a portion of the vehicle that is behind the area. Keep in mind the angle, the Lexus is angled off to the left. So the area that you see here is actually, in this case, in front of where the taillight is. This is why we tried showing it from a whole bunch of different angles, because when you try and take a two-dimensional image and look at it, you see stuff in the background. So and again, this is why in the computer, we overlaid them, looked at the measurements, in the computer where you don't have this, we have the three-dimensional measurements and it does not hit.
Where did you show in your slide presentation what you just said that it doesn't show in overlap?
So where it shows a contact, it definitely contacted, I'm sorry, Mr. Reporter, down below here. It does not show a contact here. So to answer your question, all the next slides were our attempt to do that. So all the next slides is your answer.
We're going to go to those next slides. So you're, just to be clear, you're saying that that depiction does not show any contact between the taillight of the Lexus and the Chevy Traverse.
So the upper taillight, just to be clear, because the lower taillight is much closer.
Well, it's not only much closer, it's in contact, isn't it, sir?
It's very close. It's probably within an inch of being in contact.
Oh, so you state that even the lower part of the taillight is not making contact?
So if, again, maybe there's a photo we could show or a scan that.
See, this is where if you really were about this, why didn't you get because you have the Lexus, you could have gotten a Chevy Traverse and you could have bumped them into each other. You could have at least put them where they were in contact and taken a picture and say, wow, these things don't add up. I mean, it's a Chevy Traverse. It's not the Bonnie and Clyde death car. You could find another one. The fact they didn't do this is very revealing. They went to go buy a Lexus SUV, but they didn't. I mean, who really wants to go buy a Chevy Traverse? I mean, let's be honest. If you own one, I'm sorry. I'm just making fun of you. But you could buy one of those too. You could have bumped these up against each other. So this is so stupid that We used the laser range scanners. Why don't you just do the real thing? And then scan that. Wow. It's a sloppy scientist, a sloppy scientist.
Is on the rear of the vehicle, and the contact's on the corner, which is just around, so maybe like an inch or so in front of it on the corner.
I'm just going with what you presented in your slide.
Well, let's go to the next slides, and then
Sir, I will
see.
determine which slides we go to on my questioning.
I'm just hoping
So
to
now
answer your
let's
question.
go to Mr. Wolf, the next slide.
Ooh. Ooh. He's like, let's go to the next slide. It's like, I'll decide when we do it. And he's like, okay. See, this is the thing here. He tried to present strong yesterday, and now that Alessi's come out strong, he's backing down. So all that control he tried to exert yesterday is backfired. Interesting. I told you guys. I know there's some people out there who argue there's no strategy. It's just law and facts, and that's all you have. There's all kinds of strategy. There's psychological warfare involved in this. There's basic psychology. There's all kinds of things you're doing. You're dealing with people. It is not just input law, input facts, get result. It's people. And it's how you handle people.
There we go.
In your presentation, my question is zeroing in. Are you saying that that slide does not show contact between the tail light of Miss Reed's Lexus and any part of the Chevy Traverse?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what it shows. You can see a little better here. Again, we tried all these different angles, which is why all these slides are in there. But you can see some of the geometry of the light. This structure, and again, remember I said the Chevy kind of curves in as it goes up a little bit?
Let's go to the next slide. 40, yes, please. Is it working? 41, Your Honor.
That's exhibit 41? No, I have a question. It's not my slide.
So, Mr. Alessi, is this exhibit number 41 or is this from the PowerPoint? Because
Slide 41. Slide.
okay.
Yes.
So I'm putting this up because I want to show an actual photograph of that tail light, and I would like you, sir, to focus on the quarter panel tail light in each. Do you see a jutting out of the quarter panel tail light in that photo? Do you see it jut out?
So I don't know if you and I are talking the same thing. There are little fins here.
Correct. Now, what I'd like to do is to go back to the depiction we were just looking at, and that depiction doesn't show the jutting out, does it?
No, it does. Those are actually more on the side of the vehicle. You can't see them in this image.
Correct. You
But-
can't.
Oh, no, it's there. Trust me. Well, it's not in this image. No.
See that.
Hold on a second. I wasn't finished. But
Sir.
You are finished. I'm asking the question, sir. Don't let him have an inch, Alessi.
are 100% there. We actually did special hand scans with a hand scanner of the taillight to put it back on to the vehicle.
You say they're 100% there, but you can't see it in that depiction, can you? The jutting out that you could see in the two-dimensional one we just saw. You can't see it.
I can't see who's behind that wall because it's being blocked by something. I can't see on the side of that taillight because it's on the side I can't see. It's being blocked.
Sir, my question is simple. You cannot see the jutting out of the taillight in this depiction, can you?
Correct.
Okay, now let's go on to the next question in this topic. You could have easily solved what you consider to be the issues you had with trying to show it lining up, couldn't you, sir? You had an easy solution for that.
I took the best solution. I'm not sure what
You
you're
had
referring to.
3D images, correct?
I did.
You could have shown and measured 3D images to get almost the exact contact point and almost the exact dimensions if you had just used the 3D images that you had available to you. Isn't that correct?
That's exactly what we did. When I went through the video analysis, I showed you how we overlaid the point clouds, the 3D scans on top of each vehicle. So we took the, I'm sorry, we took
Sir,
the vehicles.
please don't interrupt.
Hold on.
Your
Hold
Honor, he
on.
keeps referencing my hand as saying I'm doing something when I'm not, and I think that's distracting to the jury.
So,
I'm not interrupting him.
Hold on. Let the witness answer the
I
question.
am. I'm just holding my hand like this.
He's allowed to stop him, though. You're. That's if Hank's not objecting, you have no room to say he has to finish that. Who put the nickel in you, Bev? Who put the nickel in you right now? Be competent.
Your Honor, he keeps saying that I'm doing something.
Mr. Leslie, please.
All right.
Go ahead, finish the answer, Dr. Wolf.
Again, in the photogrammetric analysis, I showed the video. I showed how we overlaid the point cloud on top of the video. That proves that the way we solved it, correct camera characteristics, matches. Otherwise, that would be distorted. We overlaid the scans of the Lexus into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid the scans of the scene into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid all that stuff into the analysis. We did exactly what you're suggesting.
You could have easily addressed this issue by the following. If you really believe there was no contact or not sufficient contact, you could have produced a graphic that shows a gap between the two vehicles. A graphic, couldn't you? That's not a graphic.
What is that?
Sir, I get to ask the questions and you are to answer them subject to the judge's ruling. So my question is, couldn't you have created a graphic that would have better shown the issue that you are creating or talking about today? That's my question. Couldn't you have created a graphic?
We did. We created a whole bunch of graphics.
You called what we just saw a graphic.
Could you just taken a picture and stuck your hand in between them saying, see, there's a gap? Well, no, that would have been hard. As someone said here, yes. Yes, having 3 to 4 engineers using the laser measuring device for 3 hours with 2 portable scanners is a lot more billable hours than just renting 2 cars and taking a couple of pictures with a ruler. You're right, Mike. Very correct. Yes, he needs his emotional support laptop. Let's see here real quick. I know some of you guys have some questions. Well, 507 of you guys here. Thank you for stopping by. If you guys are new, my name's Sean, known as Potentially Criminal. I am an attorney out of the Cleveland, Ohio area, and today we're just we're catching up on the half day. And if you guys would like to stick around later, at 9:30 tonight we have our weekly show. We'll be kind of going over Karen Reed, what's going on with Diddy, a funny story of an attorney an attorney murdering his client on the eve of trial to keep trial from happening. That's one way to get a continuance. And we're going to get to a bunch of stuff like that tonight. So join us at 9:30 Eastern here. It's going to be fun. But real quick, a bunch of you guys asked questions about the attorneys. Are they pro bono due to popularity? Henry, Robert Alessi is one of the lead partners at DLA Piper, one of the largest law firms in the world. The annual, I don't know. I don't think you guys understand. And I'm just going to use, it's Wikipedia, but it's a good guide here for you guys to understand what you're looking at. Largest law firms in the world by revenue. Okay. So when you see this Veren, this is structured as a Swiss association, but DLA Piper, Robert Alessi works for DLA Piper. Okay. Robert Alessi works for DLA Piper. Its revenue is $3.8 billion. They have 4,500 lawyers all over the world. Okay. The revenue per lawyer on average is $800,000. The per partner profit in US dollars is $3.1 million. And Robert Alessi is one of the biggest swinging dicks in that company, in that law firm. He is the global vice chair of international litigation. They don't need Bob Alessi does not need popularity here. This case is not, he might not even be well known for this case. We might know him, but this is not his only thing. Will this skyrocket their careers? No, David Yannetti is one of the most preeminent attorneys in Massachusetts for defense. He's very famous. He defended Aaron Hernandez. That really got him on the map. But David Yannetti, he doesn't need any help. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying David Yannetti, one of the top attorneys in Massachusetts. He doesn't need any help. Alan Jackson, you know, he works at DLA Piper. Like, he was at DLA Piper for a while, and now he's at his own firm. You know, he runs his own firm. He is famous for prosecuting Phil Spector when he was at the LADA's office. I mean, he's got a healthy pedigree on his own. I mean, certainly it won't hurt him at all, making him like a high profile, kind of like Jose Baez or ASAP Rocky's attorney. A little flash, a little dash never hurts anybody. But yeah, this is they didn't need this necessarily. These guys didn't. You know, Attorney Little, Elizabeth Little. Yeah, certainly this wouldn't help. This wouldn't hurt her at all because nobody really knows about her. But so, like, in that regard, yes. But they're pro bono. Karen's really spent all her damn money. She sold her house, liquidated her, retirement. Her parents basically spent all their retirement money on this. Yeah, there's a lot of this is being done on hope and dreams right now. Grifting Gamer real quick says, Yannetti would have been more fun to watch. The problem is, though, this requires science. And Bob Alessi knows enough science. He's got more science training than the average attorney, which means he's harder to bullshit. So it's very important. The objection argumentative every 3 seconds may have at least made it fun. Yeah, but it wouldn't have got the thing across because then Welcher gets to run off and spin off and hide behind things. And Yannetti's kind of like, well, what do I do? So no, there's a reason why this is happening the way it's happening. Nick Croiser says, is this like Kardashian level? It's not Kardashian level, but it's pretty good. These are pretty good attorneys. You mean the OJ Dream Team? I mean, I don't know if you'll ever get attorneys like that again. This is pretty close, I would argue, like the preeminent attorneys right now in America. I'd argue it's getting there. Unless he's working pro bono, from what I understand, yes. I mean, the guy makes $3.1 million a year minimum. He makes even more than that because I guarantee you he's equity partner. He's like all the things he's involved in, managing partner, being his position at DLA Piper. Oh, I guarantee you he's probably taking home probably $5-6 million a year. Easy. So yeah, this is just part of his practice. Just a sliver of it. So like Bob Alessi's doing Harvey Specter stuff. If you guys want to see Suits, that's Suits right there. I think everybody's pro bono for trial too. Yeah. Oh, she has not passed the bar? Oh, I thought she did. Are you guys? Well, no, I'm not. I'm not talking about that Kardashian. I thought he meant like Robert Kardashian, like her dad on the OJ Dream Team. So, yes, unless he was trained as a pharmacist, but I don't think he ever worked as one. So, yes, I heard she may have passed, but, what does Verein mean in Wiki? That's German for association, but it's a Swiss organization. You're registered and basically organized under Swiss law. So that's a thing for a lot of foreign law firms. They register and organize out of Switzerland. Yes, Ariel passed the bar, though. Yes, she did. Fucking crush that shit. Yes, Kim passed the baby bar, yes. Bifron says you don't need a bar card in California. We don't have bar cards anymore in Ohio. Supreme Court quit putting them out because they cost money. So it's really awkward when you go to places and you don't have a bar card anymore. So yes, you sure did. Congrats again. So, all right. So we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going here, guys. I do not like the British accredited registry. Well, that's a whole different thing. But I just want you guys to understand, these are serious people doing serious work. Let's get back to this.
Graphic?
Yes.
Well, if there's a gap, why isn't there then something that shows a clear gap?
Because when you have the angulation of the vehicles, you have perspective. When you're looking at it, even if you do a top down, you see everything projected onto a single flat plane. So you can't tell the height of things. So when you see things in this dimension, you can't necessarily see depth of things. So you lose in two-dimensional images, you lose one dimension depending on which way you're looking. That's why I showed it from all these different angles to try and show exactly what you're saying. We had graphics to do that.
3D images allow you to show perspectives for 360 degrees, correct? Is that correct?
That is correct.
So none of what you presented in your slideshow shows the contact points from 360 degrees, does it?
I don't understand your question. Are you asking if I showed it at every single, I went through 360 slides that showed it at every single degree?
Sir, let's move on. I think I've made the point.
So I'm going to strike the comment,
Okay.
Mr. Leslie.
Dr. Welcher, let's go to the next topic and keep with these two depictions. Are these two images point clouds or 3D images? Are these
Those are one and the same thing. Yes.
I would use them as synonym. Which term of the two do you want to use? Point cloud or 3D images?
Both are fine. It's a 3D image composed of points. Which
Okay, so let's just call them 3D images so we can do this more quickly. The Lexus and the Chevy Traverse that are depicted there are both 3D images of those vehicles, correct?
Correct.
And Aperture created the 3D images, correct?
Correct.
Sir, did you do these scans and did you personally create these images?
No.
Is the
one of,
Unreal
these
Engine?
students at Aperture did.
So you're speaking about what somebody else
We'll get
did
to this, Henry.
at Aperture, correct?
They were doing it at my direction. And for example, the Lexus scan, I showed the photographs. You can see the gentleman that works at Aperture, Mike Morelli, was scanning them for me while I was doing the rest of the inspection. And then the hand scanning of the rear tail light was done by another engineer. I was out there with him doing it, taking measurements. And then same thing with the Chevy Traverse.
My question is, you didn't do the creation of these 3D images, did you?
The individual images, no.
All right, so let's go to these individual images. These are 3D images. Is that
Notice
your
how it's so
testimony?
hard for him to answer
Yes.
a damn question.
Let's look at the taillight.
So
Okay.
frustrating with this
That's
man.
not a 3D image. That's a Photoshop, isn't it?
Nope.
Oh, so it's your testimony that that taillight is a
Ooh.
3D image.
That absolutely is a 3D image. The way you can tell is when you get up near the chrome, because lasers don't like shiny objects, you start to get a scatter. So see all these dots here? If that was a photo, you wouldn't have these dots.
Let's go to the Chevy Traverse. Let's, Mr. Woke, zero in on the content. Yeah. There's grain on that taillight in the tail.
Yeah, but I don't know unless you can have ooh, God. I could see like you start layering images over, this starts happening. You'd better have a photo expert, and they don't have one coming in to say this is clearly Photoshop that I can break it all out. This is I don't think this is a good idea by Alessi and the gang. I would not recommend them doing this. I don't think this is smart. I don't like this, chat. I don't like this. I don't like this. Alessi, you're doing so good. Don't screw this up. Do not screw this up.
Taillight. That's a 3D image of a taillight, isn't it, sir?
They're both 3D images.
Well, I just want to stay with one. That taillight is a 3D image, and one of the ways you can tell is because it's got all that grainy material on it, correct?
Correct.
Now let's go back, Mr. Woke, to the Lexus. Let's now go to the bumper.
But do you want me to explain the difference?
No,
Okay.
thank you. I would like to go to the bumper. Do you see any the predominance of any grainy image on the bumper?
There's a little bit. So for example, when you get near edges, it has a hard time with edges.
I'm sorry, the bumper cover.
Right.
See the bumper cover up above?
This whole thing is the bumper cover. That's the step pad. That's the rear body panel or the rear deck lid.
I'm talking about the step pad, sir. Just the step pad of the bumper?
Are you asking about just from here to here?
Correct. The bumper step
Can we
pad.
zoom in on it?
Pardon me?
Can we zoom in on it?
Sure. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see graininess.
Let's
little
go
bit.
over to.
Right in here. You can see it all through here. You see it through here.
Well, I'm talking about the step pad, not the entire bumper. I'm just talking about the step pad.
Right. So you're zooming in on the bumper.
Right.
The step pad is this structure up here.
We're going to move up. It just
Yeah.
takes a while. So your testimony is that is a
I mean,
Can
I
you zoom
see,
in more?
that's you would like it zoomed in.
Yes, sir.
I
Sure.
see here. Oh,
Your
Here,
testimony
here,
is that is a 3D
here,
image, not
here,
a Photoshop
here,
step
here. I see
bumper cover. Is that correct?
graininess.
So we have mapped the color over the 3D scans. We used two separate scanners. If you recall, When I got out to Miss Reed's vehicle, that taillight was gone. So we had to replace the taillight.
Talking about the bumper cover, not the taillight.
Okay, I'm explaining the process.
I just asking about the bumper cover, not the process.
So focus your answer on the bumper.
That is a laser scan.
Okay, so your
That's a 3D
testimony
model.
is the step part of the bumper cover is a 3D image from a laser scan, and it's not a Photoshop. That's your testimony.
Absolutely.
And you didn't perform the work for the 3D that you claim the bumper step up is. You didn't do that work to produce that depiction, did you, sir? Somebody else in your firm did it.
So this is all done at my direction. The engineers that work for me, so I'm telling them what to do. I'm not the one punching the keys.
That's
I'm
my
saying,
question.
I need you to do this, and this. Use the hand scanner, go scan the light. I need to put this back in because it was missing when we got to it. So no, I'm not punching the keys.
Okay, so
Okay. One over, please.
What are you objecting to now, Hank? It's a little late. He hasn't asked a question right now. What's the objection? I bet his assistants fucked it up. They went and photoshopped it and never told him. If they do, I hope ARCA could say, we did it and our scans show this. I don't know. We'll see. Unless he's choking again. I don't think he's choking. It's just like, here's the thing. Remember, Ted Williams hit 450 and he's the best baseball player ever. So he's not going to hit a home run every day. Darcy says, no, it's like when the suits come to my job site and tell me what I missed. It's like, no, fucker, I do the work daily and I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there you go. Weird, I've never seen him punch his laptop. Yeah. And real quick, guys, we got some super chats here we're going to read up to real quick. Amon Redson says, y'all act like you never seen a potato gun before. You know what? Well, I never called it a potato gun. It's a spud gun. But yeah, I mean, fuck. Maybe we'll make one of those and we'll shoot it off one day. I'll go to my parents' house and start cranking out potato rounds with it. It'll be fun. Maybe we'll do that for the end of the Karen Reed case. Hey, you know what? Maybe this weekend. Let me shoot the spud gun. Maybe I'll go make one. Go to Menards and buy some stuff. Hold on. Hey, 2.0. Does that sound like fun? We'll make... Okay. Well, I said we're going to make a spud gun and go shoot it. Okay, love you too. And I said, love you too. And she's like, yep. The lovely future Mrs. Martin 2.0, everybody. T-Rex Trucking and More says the autism war between these two is nearly the most insufferable thing I've witnessed this year. You know, when these guys are, it's science. They're having a nerd off. They're speaking nerdese to each other. Drifting Gamer for $5. Thank you, man, for being here. I appreciate it. Says, we only needed just the right amount of data to fry your client and not find the truth, Mr. Alessi. Yes, Yannetti arguing would have been more fun, but it would not have got what we wanted. Or Alan Jackson arguing with them. It would have been more fun, but not what Karen needed. And that's part of, when you're these two guys, knowing that this is not your fight means you're looking out for her. And you're letting this guy go up there and take care of business. So they're doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing. T-Rex Trucking More says, what I really want to know is the coefficient of drag calculations used for launching the Lexus into space. Yes, apparently this could go into space, as we learned. We learned that, yes. Chugi shows, I wonder how many of the jurors are like me and don't understand the science behind this and what this guy is saying. I mean, I'm sure they don't understand a lot of it, but they're understanding the overall picture, I guess. Like, you understand what they're what overall thing they're talking about. You just don't understand how, you don't understand how the sausage is made. You just know, the electricity comes out of the wall. You don't understand how the electricity gets sent to you, but you at least understand the electricity comes out of the plug or the outlet. So I mean, they're understanding enough, I bet. Jefferson Post says, remember the Bush era and the importance of strategy. Yes. And thank you guys for your super chat so far. Then Suki the Hangry has been a member for 1 month, says, I'm old. I understood the Kardashian comment. Oh, thanks. Oh, all right. Let's get back to this chat.
with regard to, no, we don't need to back up. Mr.
We'll get
Will.
to this, Mike.
Isn't it correct that 3D images allow for proper and most accurate measurements as opposed to 2D images. Is that a correct general statement?
I mean, generally, yeah.
Okay, that's my question. So let's go to the next topic. Let's talk about hydraulics on the Lexus SUV. What type of hydraulic system does the Lexus SUV have?
So it has a mechanism, I believe it's actually pneumatic. It's air-based system that raises it up and down.
Do you know what the name of that system is, sir?
No, not off the top of my head.
Do you know how it works specifically?
I do. Well, I mean, I know generally that there's a button on the interior where you can raise and lower the ride height.
And is that the extent of your knowledge of that system on the Lexus?
No, again, I know when you park it, it'll drop down the ride height. When you adjust it for different roadway conditions, it'll change the ride height.
Do you know what the height tolerances are? In other words, the lowest to the highest?
I believe it's around 1.25 inches. At one point in time, I measured it. I don't remember off the top of my head.
So you believe it's 1.25 inches up and 1.25 inches down? How do you apply the 1.25 inches?
I recall the total being like 1.25 inches, but I measured it at one point in time. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
Would you be surprised to hear that the tolerance is 5 inches on that vehicle?
I would be surprised. I don't recall it being that much, but I would need to double check.
Assume that the manual as well as other informations support that the tolerance is 5 inches and that specifically the vehicle can be raised 3 inches high and it can be lowered 2 inches. That's the basis for the 5. What was the suspension height of Miss Reed's Lexus that you used for your accident reconstruction analysis out front at 34 Fairview between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m. on January 29, 2022 to determine whether it was possible?
Okay, this is something I did want to ask you guys, because this is what I thought he was saying this too. The car's only got 1.25 inches of suspension travel. I mean, a regular car has more than that in suspension travel. I don't yeah. He could have looked in the manual. Yes, all this. This is. Yeah, I don't know. So, and real quick, Darcy with 20 subs. Darcy, thank you for the support and your generosity. I greatly appreciate it. I know everyone does. Guys, if you got a membership from her, please tell her thank you. Darcy says, Alessi's brilliant. Courtrooms take a special kind of personality. I bet money he's amazing and civil. Oh, I guarantee you, he's got the same personality. He probably has a phenomenal bedside manner. No, from what I've read about Alessi, he's a very, very good attorney. Very astute. But once again, Darcy, thank you so much. Jim, thank you so much. So, yeah, let's get back to this. But yeah, this didn't make sense to me. Sean's car is triple, and it's not Munich. I know. They put dump truck leaf springs in my car. Yeah. Oh, this is air ride separate from the normal components. Okay. Does this Lexus come with an air ride, you guys? 'Cause I'm surprised it does.
For the spoiler on the back of the Lexus to make contact with the eye of Mr. O'Keefe, if it was even possible. What did you use for a measurement of the suspension?
Matched the measurements from when the vehicle was tested, I believe on February 1st at the Canton Police Department.
What match did you make?
So we aligned the bottom of the taillight, actually the sheet metal right below the taillight. So we adjusted the height of the Lexus to match that.
Did you in any place
they're talking about the ride height.
What level the Lexus was at the time of any testing, meaning the suspension? Did you document it all?
Yes.
Where?
You got to dig
Slide
for
107.
it. I don't know if he's got it.
107 as well.
And then if you could zoom in on the lower photograph, the gentleman with the blue shirt. Zoom in a little more, please.
Who's the guy with the blue shirt cosplaying as?
So if I may, we matched the bottom of the sheet metal here to photographs when it was at the Canton Police Department.
Sir, my question is, where did you document whether the suspension was at 0, whether it was +3 or -2? Where did you document that?
Right here.
And what are the numbers of the documentation of that?
I don't know. We were matching the photos. So I don't care what the numbers are. I care that the height is the same.
Okay, so I just heard you say, if I heard correctly, you don't care what the suspension is at. Is that your testimony?
No, I don't care what the suspension number is as long as the heights match.
I understand. I understand. So what was the suspension height of Miss Reed's Lexus at 5:07 a.m. on January 29th?
But that's important to know, because then you might say, wow, what all kind of data is off?
2022 while at One Meadows and colliding with the Chevy Traverse. What was the suspension height then?
We assumed it was the same as when it was at the Canton Police Department.
Exactly. You assumed, but there's no measurement like was just on that depiction. There was no note that said, okay, we're doing this very important and inches sensitive measurements to see whether the tail light.
To be
on the
fair, that's
Lexus
probably a
makes
logical
contact
assumption
with
to
the
make.
Traverse, but there's no measurement and no documentation of what the suspension height was at One Meadows, correct?
So we took the closest measurement in time to the One Meadows event, which is when it was at the Canton Police Department. That was the best information we had.
Well, that information isn't very good because the vehicle had to go from Canton to One Meadows. And when the vehicle drives, the way the suspension system works, it's automatic. When you go above 20 miles an hour, the suspension comes up. And when you turn off the vehicle, it goes down so you can get out easier. So it would be improper to assume that the suspension at One Meadows would be the same at another location.
That's the only, sorry.
Was there an objection? Yeah. Go ahead and answer, please.
That's the extent of the information we had. We had it when it was at the Canton Police Department. We matched that height.
Sorry, sir. I understand.
But actually, you brought up a good point. It's going so slow when it's backing up that it wouldn't raise up. So the static position when it's backing up would be the static position.
But it wouldn't be going in back up from the Canton Police Department to One Meadows. It wouldn't be going back up when.
Oh, God damn, Alessi. That's not a good point. Oh, buddy. See, this is why you have to be careful. You have to be careful, because maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's just lying, talking on his ass. I don't know. Yeah, you don't know that, though. But yeah, when he said it was going 24 miles an hour, though. But yeah, that's what I mean. I think he's making it up, but the jury's going to say, oh, wow, Science Man has an answer. Remember what I told you guys, chat? If you can give a reasonable answer to something, the jury's going to go, good enough. It's a reasonable answer. Remember, if you give reasonable answers, you have to be careful about that. So.
It's going in other locations, sir, right? It would be driving forward. It had to get from point A to point B.
Right. But as you pointed out, when you turn it off, it drops down. And then you turn it on. And then once you go above 20, as you indicated, it goes up. But when she's backing up, she never goes more than a couple miles an hour. So it's going to be at the same position as when you start, which is approximately the same position when it's off at the Canton Police Department a couple days later.
Do you know whether the suspension system locks when there is testing of the infotainment system?
Whether the suspensions, I don't know.
Okay, let's go on to the next topic. You're aware of the vehicle control, excuse me, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. I want to go, I'm changing topics to go back now to Fairview, 34 Fairview. You don't know what the suspension ride height at 34 Fairview was on January 29th of 2022, do you?
Correct.
No.
So therefore, if you don't know what the suspension height was, because of course you weren't there on January 29th, 2022, therefore there's no measuring stick, as you say, you assert that you would have accounted for it in your methodology. So you don't have the suspension height for that key day, do you, sir?
I only have it 2 days later.
All right. So when you talk about key measurements, such as the spoiler on the top of the Lexus and the inches that are important as to whether things such as, is there a contact with the front eye, you don't have some data that would be relevant to that calculation, the some data being the suspension height of the Lexus at that time, do you?
So we have some data. We have photos of the vehicle 2 days later. We don't know the exact height outside because, as you alluded to, we don't have a measurement on January 29th of it, but we do have it 2 days later. That's the source of the measurement.
You don't have the suspension height or the setting of the suspension of the Lexus that existed on January 29th, 2022, do you?
Correct.
Now let's go on to another topic. Within the 34 Fairview on January 29th of 2022,
Hi, Aaron.
I'm
We'll
not going
talk
to go
about
over
this.
them, but you asserted various measurements, height, width, with regard to the Lexus, correct? It wasn't just for the spoiler at the top, correct?
Correct.
And for all those other measurements that you talked about, you did not have the suspension height and the suspension setting of the hydraulic system of the Lexus on January 29th, 2022, did you?
So the hydraulic's only going to affect the vertical dimensions. It doesn't change anything left or right. It doesn't change anything down the side of the car.
Understood. But for the measurements that are affected by vertical,
Mhm.
you didn't have the suspension height of the Lexus system on January 29th, 2022.
Again, I only know what it is 2 days later.
So now let's go on to vehicle control history, sir. You understand what I mean by vehicle control history of
This is
VCH?
text stream information.
Are you aware of what is called the Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles?
Of course, we showed it on my slides.
And the Bosch crash
What an
data retrieval
asshole.
system in Lexus vehicles is sometimes referred to as the black box.
No, you're mixing up two things. So the Bosch is like the tools.
It's a question, sir.
So you answer that with a yes or no?
Is
Yes,
the
it-
Bosch
like,
crash
just-
data retrieval system the black box on Lexus vehicles? I just wanted to repeat it so we
I
can.
didn't hear the objection. You objected?
I'd like him to be able to finish his answers.
No, it's a yes or no question. Okay, no. And then he's allowed to ask this. Let him ask the question.
The question was just asked. Can you answer that question?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, next question. is-
There you go.
I'm going to ask the question, sir. The Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles, you're familiar with that? Are you familiar?
Are you familiar? He's like, oh, maybe. Why is this frozen? Uh-oh. It's frozen, chat. Hold on.
Are you familiar?
Ooh, something happened here, guys. I don't know. I mean, is it going to do this the whole time? Doesn't look like it.
Diagnostic tool for their technicians by Lexus.
Okay, so it... Oh, shoot. Sorry, chat. I'm sorry. That bogged down for some reason. I don't know what to do about that. So, we're just going to have to live with this. So,
By
sorry.
Lexus
Sorry about that. I don't know what
as a
happened.
diagnostic tool for their technicians, Lexus technicians, to assist in vehicle repair and maintenance. Is that what that is created for?
That's their stated purpose.
Right. And is a synonym for VCH?
Oh, everybody
TechStream?
glitched. Okay.
Is
Sort of. TechStream, similar, like Bosch is the hardware and software to access the black box data. TechStream is the software to access, for example, the pre-collision system, the PCS system, and the VCH, which is the vehicle control history. So TechStream which does a lot of other stuff, but does access that information.
you just mentioned Bosch, didn't you, sir?
So Bosch is not in the Lexus. You use Bosch stuff sold by Bosch, Bosch software and hardware, and you walk up to the Lexus with all the Bosch stuff and plug it in and download the event data recorder, the EDR, the black box. That was my problem. There is no
Understood.
Bosch stuff in the Lexus.
I understand, sir. That was going to be the question that I was trying to get to, but you've explained it, so I don't have to answer the question. Let's go to the VCH.
That does make you sound like a moron, Alessi. So that's not good. You don't want to sound like a moron if you don't have to. Now, there might be times where you'll play along and be playful and sound like an idiot. This is not one of them. So I don't know what Alessi's trying to do here. This is not a good idea, in my opinion. I don't like what he's doing here. So Alessi needs to figure something out because this is not good. In my opinion. So
VCH database that you say the stated purpose is to assist technicians at Lexus in vehicle repair and maintenance.
So I didn't say that was a stated purpose. I'm saying that's what Lexus or Toyota says is a stated purpose. It's being used in litigation all the time. All I know is that's what Lexus and Toyota says, But again, it came about right when we started seeing all the sudden accelerations in the Toyota vehicles.
So my question is the VCH database specific to Toyota and Lexus vehicles?
So it's not a database, it's software.
Is the software specific to Lexus and Toyota? The VCH?
Those particular acronyms are, yes.
Want to move to another topic, and we are.
That was
almost
not
finished.
good,
We
Chad.
have just
That
two more topics.
That exchange was bad.
How common were VCH events when Miss Reed owned the Lexus?
In 2022,
Do you know the ownership period of Miss Reed with respect to the Lexus? Do you know how long she owned it?
I have that documentation. I do it off the top of my head.
Do you have an approximate?
No, I mean,
No,
it
'cause
was
you
a
never
2021 vehicle. Our accident's January 29, 2022. But I did get that information.
Do you know how many VCH events were associated with the Lexus of Miss Reed?
I did not count them, no. I have them all.
Do you
I was
have-
only focused on the ones around our time period.
Exactly. But do you have the number of events? Do you know how many there were?
I could get it for you.
How long would it take, sir?
3 minutes?
Why don't we come back to it?
Okay.
And we'll see if it's.
How about I start this so that we don't have to wait for it to boot up? And then when we come back to it, it's ready to go. You
As
okay
long
with
as
that?
that's all you're looking at, sir.
Yep.
Thank you. And then pick your head up, please, so I can finish these two
Please,
topics.
go ahead.
So how often were VCH events recorded on the Lexus before January 29th of 2022?
Man, I have to pull this data up.
Fair
to-
enough,
to
fair enough.
answer that
I
question.
assume that's going to be in what you're also pulling up.
That's the goal here.
Would the number be about 15?
He's so
15? Does
insufferable.
that sound right to you?
Just says y'all are trash.
Let's see. 1, 2.
Yeah, she still technically owns it. Oh, so Mike, this will be great. I hope that Rentschler, because Rentschler is it's Wolf. I think one of them is the Lexus certified and trained dude. So he's gonna be like, yeah, Bosch makes the ECUs breaking. I hope one of them comes in and says all this, because it'll make him look like an idiot. So it's still very important. And yeah, she technically still owns the car. So the VCH, you're thinking of vaginal clitoris?
There's 18.
right?
18.
Jeez.
So there were 8. Your records show that there were 18 VCH events recorded on Miss Reed's Lexus, correct?
Before the subject one.
Right. Did you conclude that any of those events, other than the 1162-2, were a collision?
No.
Now let's go to reverse recorded events. Can you tell how many of those 18 events were reverse recorded events? And you know what I mean by reverse recorded events?
Yes.
The vehicle going in reverse? How
Right.
many of those events were the vehicle going in reverse?
Is he
This
on
is before.
Discord? I don't
4.
think so. I hope not.
Other than,
He asked
No,
you,
no, I
is
said
this before?
yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I would have to pull up the PCS file.
Can you start that and I can continue on with the questioning?
So the PCS file I have a second laptop.
Here's what I'm going to do. That's not important for me to keep going and get through it.
Okay.
So let's just stay on the events, okay?
Oh, wow, he
Only
put it away.
one of all of those events, those 18, are you concluding that there was a collision associated with them, correct? Just one.
No, all those 18 are before. The collision is number 19.
No, I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, but for all the other events that are recorded, you're not, other than the January 29, 1162-2, you're not concluding that any of those were collisions, correct?
I didn't look at them. They were so far mileage away from everything.
But you're not concluding, even though they were so far away and you didn't look at them, you don't conclude from the information you have that any of them were a collision, correct? Let's go to 5:07 a.m. on January 29th, 2022.
I
at
mean,
One
yes, I
Meadows,
did
the
come
home
home from
of
court to
Mr.
watch
O'Keefe.
this.
There was a collision between Miss Reed's 6,000-pound Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe's approximately 4,500 Chevy Traverse. That's undisputed, correct? They collided. They made contact.
They touched.
Right.
Chat, even Laney doesn't like Dr. Welcher.
But the actual collision at One Meadows did not register the recording of an event on the Lexus VCH system, did it?
Correct. Too minor.
So, however, you want this jury, sir, to conclude that the glancing blow that you contend occurred at 34 Fairview Road by the same 6,000-pound Lexus in contact with a mere 216-pound man did register an event on the Lexus, correct?
No, the impact didn't register the event. As I pointed out, the trigger was from when the accelerator pedal went to 30%. The tech stream does not register crashes at all. It registers excessive acceleration, excessive steering, excessive braking, things like that, things that would be part of the maintenance system. So the tech stream will never register an event, even if you hit a wall at 100 miles an hour necessarily. We don't call it fault codes and things like that, but that's not what it does. The trigger here was transitioning into reverse and then gunning the accelerator pedal in reverse. And so when it went from 30 up to 74% throttle, once it went over 30 in that transition, that's what triggered the tech stream. It had nothing to do with, and that's why I'm telling you, I don't know when in that event the impact occurred, because the tech stream doesn't tell you that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Exactly my point. The tech stream information doesn't tell you when a collision occurs, does it?
Correct.
That's all the questions I have at this time, Your Honor.
All right, why don't we take our morning recess?
All right, chat. Hold on. I need to hear the last second of that. What did he say? That's all the questions he has? I'm kind of surprised that's all Leslie has right there. So, So they're going to take their break. All right. Also, if you guys are new, this is, on edge of the screen is 2.0, the future Mrs. Martin 2.0. And this is Clyde. He is,
Oh, he wooed.
yes, he did.
Tiny little woo.
Yes, this is Clyde. He's our best dog ever. He's the best dog on the show.
He's the good
So,
little.
Spud Gun, what's the baby bar? If you tune in tonight, we'll talk about it. It's one of the ways in California you can become an attorney without going to a law school. Henry H. asked a question. Why is Reed's team allowing her to interview or speak publicly, in your opinion? Because she wants to do it, and I think because they can't speak, so they're letting her engage with the press. I think it's an awful, awful, awful idea.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. There you go.
That's a very big woo. Oh, he's a good boy.
You gotta let him do it.
He's a good boy.
So while Clyde's not trying to woo, that's what that's about there. Mike has actually got a good question. He says, as an engineer, if I'm on the jury and I know what he's saying is bullshit, can I go tell the other jurors in deliberation? 100% you can. Part of the reason why we use lay juries in America is you're a cross-section of the community. You have experiences and knowledge and prior things in your life. So you would take that knowledge and use it. And you could walk in there and say, hey, I'm an engineer. That's bullshit. Or, hey, I'm a nurse. That's not how people get hurt. Or, hey, I'm a teacher. That kid's a liar. That's a reason why on juries, I love having teachers when it crimes involving kids, because teachers can tell when kids are being lying little shits. So there's always, you can use all that information. So Aaron says, are photos data? Yes, they can be. If it's used as part of the investigation, it's data. 100%. Unforced Ego says the black box is made by Bosch. Alessi is right, but the dude was so confident he made Alessi doubt himself. I wonder how many other times that's happened. Well, I'm hoping that the ARCA guys will be able to lay that out. Because remember, one of them's a certified Lexus data technician, so that'll take care of that. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Jessica Lynn gifted wide sub. Thank you, Jessica. Hilly says, thanks for the after hours coverage. Well, I was in court today, so that's There's a reason why I'm doing it like this is because I'm not able to do it during the day. Working a 9 to 5 with 2 kids. Well, I love being able to catch up at the end of the day. Well, I'm glad you're here, Hilly. Thank you for stopping by. We're going all the time. We're doing the whole trial, so please stick around. Happy to see you. T-Rex Trekking and More. T-Rex Trekking More says, I do not think any of this landed with the jury, and this has been a day and a half wasted. I mean, like I said, guys, I don't think they didn't score the points they needed. Karen getting convicted is a very real possibility right now. And also part of the thing is the work they make here for the work they do on Welcher paves the way for ARCA, which means now ARCA has to be flawless. So that's why I don't like this. I don't think this was properly. I think they could have done it better. I think they fumbled. Clyde, can I sit you down, buddy? I'm going to set you down, okay? I got to actually sit up and read stuff so I don't look like a bum. And guys, if you were wondering, that is a lovely future Mrs. Martin 2.0. Oh, whoa, buddy. She starts calling him. He's like, let me go, fat man. That is my future. That is the lovely future Mrs. Martin 2.0, my fiance. But yeah, I think this could have been better. This is going to be so much tougher now for ARCA. There's going to be so much pressure on it. It's going to be a make or break. I think that Karen's really in a bad spot right now. Very bad spot. I tuned into Andrea Burkhart's. I traded her at lunch for about 20 minutes, and she thinks that it's the risk is the same as the first trial. That was one time. I don't normally disagree with her, but I very much disagree with her right now. Karen is in very precarious. She's in a very precarious situation. This is not good. I don't think. Yes, Jefferson Post says Massachusetts instructs jurors to use their own experience. Everywhere does. Jurors have to use their own experience. You have to use what you know, because that's how you gauge. How do you gauge who's credible? Your own experiences. How do you gauge what's important? Your own experiences. T-Rex Trucking and Morris says, remember when Lexuses were flooring themselves and driving people in the walls? Almost as bad when the 777s were flying themselves into the ground. Yes, I remember that. Yes, that was the whole thing. And it turns out a lot of those were just people being idiots. And then there was the whole floor mat thing too. So, I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. So, Laney has good taste. Laney's a good dog too. Laney's a dog you heard bark in chat. So I don't know where she's at. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm trying to catch your guys' other comments. Mike says she went to 74% throttle but never broke 20 mph. Well, remember, up to 23. But remember, it's also snowing. So I'm betting she's spinning her tires. And remember, as your tires are spinning, it thinks you're going faster and faster. So, I mean, she probably was going. And I'm sure the tires were spinning like crazy and it was nasty out. So we'll see. We'll see. Ghostball says not guilty. I think she's not guilty. But I don't think that's where the jury's going to go, guys. I don't think she's guilty. I just think her odds of getting convicted are very high right now. The Clyde cam should have been bigger. Well, you get what you get. Yes, Clyde. Yes, Clyde is the best of the dogs with the best of coins. Yes. Let's see here. This witness seems really good at spreading out his load. Yes, he talks about him all the time. Mike says, what kind of dog is Clyde? Clyde is a dog. We got him from the shelter. He is a Shih Tzu, Lhasa Apso, Chow Chow, and some sort of terrier. We have a Clyde. Hold on. I think I have it. Hold on here. Someone asked me before and I sent them. Somebody was like, what is Clyde's breed? And I'm like, well, I can actually show you. Hold on here. Where is it? I don't have it. So, actually, hold on here. I'll pull it up off locals. Clyde is, I mean, you can tell with the Shih Tzu because he's got the underbite thing going on. But Clyde is, yeah, here we go. Here's Clyde's breed summary if you really wanted to know. I'll bring this, I'll make it full screen. There's Clyde's breed summary. He's got a little bit of miniature Schnauzer, a little bit of Pekingese, but he's got some sort of Russell type terrier. But he's very much a Shih Tzu. And then he does have like the chow chow tail. So Bush says they can't tell what kids are flying. It isn't magic. They just know all kids are lying little shits. That may be true, Bush. That may be true. But hey, you know, I run with what I got. My cat's name is Carrot. Says I also assume kids are full of shit. Well, there's that too. Doesn't Welcher get to come back and rebut Arca? Depends if Hank wants to do a rebuttal. Yes, but we'll see. We'll see. He might not use him. We'll see. I think the copium on Welcher is that Bev is fed up on him. She wasn't that fed up with him. Like, she wasn't getting that mad at him. Like, I get it, you guys. She was a little frustrated, but like, yeah. Which is probably the best read on the jury we're going to get. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Kurt says he thinks she's in trouble. Oh, I definitely think she's in trouble. I mean, right now, if this ended right now, she gets convicted. Outside chance of a hung jury, but she's probably going to get convicted. It's going to be up to the defense to save the day. Does 2.0, does future Mr. Martin 2.0 work in law as well? No. We would probably kill each other if that happens, though. 2.0 works in an entirely different sector. And not the sector. She works in a different business sector. So. And if you ask her, I don't think she knows what she does. So. Polymark has a 26% chance of Karen being found guilty now. Oh, I would be shorting that so hard. I'd be buying Convict right now. So, Sweet Tooth says, you're stressing me out. I can give you the real answer, the nice answer. I can gas you up and say it's going to be okay. Right now, it's not okay. If it gets better, I'll let you know. But if I was Kieran Reed, I'd be very nervous right now. What do I think the Commonwealth's going to do if it gets hung again? I think they go again. I don't think they quit. They can't afford to. They've sunk too much. The sunk cost fallacy is a thing, and they've put too much on this. I don't think they can let her go. I hope Bev has the integrity to say, sorry, no, 2 chances, that's it. But I don't think she's got the integrity for that. No way in hell Karen gets convicted, man. I tell you guys this because I'm not joking, man. When it comes to a jury, guys, it's I don't have it. It's a coin flip. Call it in the air. Call it. It's a coin flip. Even on good terms, it's a coin flip. Jesus Levy says my money is on another hung jury. We'll see. It's going to be up to Arca how well that does. No way, no chance they try a third time. Why not? They have infinite money. They have an infinite money glitch. They're the government. I've seen trials 5, 6, 7 times retried. So, how many times could someone be retried based on hung juries? Infinitely. There is no limit. At some point, a court should step in, but there is no limit. You could have like 19 hung juries, and you could get tried on the 20th one. And that would probably push it, but 3, 4, 5, 6 times, not unheard of. So, what's a jury makeup? 9 men, 9 women. They're all relatively younger overall, but I don't know much more than that. So, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, and Clyde is a good boy. Yes, he's also part chef. He's such a good dog. So, all right, chat. So we're going to keep going here. Let's keep going. I'm sure some of you guys will want to get to the point. Suki says, is there betting on this trial? Yes, Polymarket is taking bets on it. So, yeah, at this point, they have to gamble that the jury thinks Welcher was a dick and ignore him. Although right now, that's where we're at. But I think ARCA will do a great job at persuading the jury. We just have to get there. And right now, we're not there yet. So we'll see, chat. We'll see together. We'll figure this out together is what's also going to happen. Okay? So let's get there. Let's move on to... let's move on. So I've been wrong in every case but Sarah Boone so far. Well, I don't think I've been wrong in every case. So, all right, guys, here we go. Here we go. Let's keep going. Oh, we got Clyde's breed summary up again. Here we go. All right. I love how Bev's like, oh, we're going to take 20 minutes. And it's like nearly 40 minutes later.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brandon.
You were asked some
I seen
questions.
this morning, but yes.
You were asked some questions about the ring video from Meadows, which was John O'Keefe's home. And you were asked whether you're aware if the cameras had changed over time.
Correct.
The fact that the camera was replaced, does that any way affect your opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty about your conclusions relative to that touching between the cars?
Absolutely not. It would have shown up as increased error when we overlaid the point clouds onto the photos or the point clouds onto the video. If it was an error, it would have showed an error.
Do you have any concern whatsoever that any of the information from the scan is in any way tainted, compromised, or inadequate?
That would be very hard to do. You literally press a button and stand there and watch it, and the laser does its thing. So I have absolutely no reason to disbelieve it. Additionally, again, if it was messed up, once you laid it over on top of the photograph, it would show the difference. So no, the data's fine.
Is there any evidence whatsoever that you've seen that any parts of your presentation were photoshopped?
No.
You were asked questions about the suspension of the motor vehicle of the defendant's Lexus. Do you have any information that the suspension at any point was changed?
No.
Yesterday, you were asked a number of questions about formulas. You took out your calculator and you were asked about different variables. Were those variables hypotheticals or were they related to this specific case?
So they seemed hypothetical. Again, you have to be careful when you're talking about failure forces on biomechanical things. For example, if you impact the hand with a, say, 1-inch narrow metal bar, that's a lot different than if you have a broad, say, plastic taillight or rear body panel. So when you have distributed loads, you can take much more. I told you guys about sitting on the bed, like how much you sink in. That's an example of spreading your load out. When you spread the load out, you don't sink in as much. So same thing with, forces on your body. If you take this pencil, I don't have to press very hard for it to pull in. But if I spread it out, I have to press much harder. So you have to look at the distribution of the load when you're talking about the failure. So when you look at the failure loads, it depends on what you're doing it with. If I hit you with a 5-pound 2x4 or a 5-pound pillow, they're both 5 pounds, but you'd much rather get hit by the pillow than the 2x4.
When you were asked questions about communications, when you would have communications with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, did you ever use encrypted apps to secretly hide your communications? Apps like Signal?
No, I don't have any of those.
So the form of the question, ask it differently.
When you were communicating with members of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, did you ever use encrypted apps like Signal to communicate?
I'm going to allow it.
No, I don't know.
Why? That's not part of the scope. Now, if I'm the defense, I'm really hoping ARCA, and maybe they'll talk to ARCA about this because Hank might bring it up. It'd be like, who demanded you guys use Signal? Well, the FBI and DOJ told us use Signal too. That would be fucking hilarious. So,
I know what that is.
Would you ever use an encrypted app so those communications couldn't be tracked?
No.
Would you ever have any reason as a professional for doing that?
Sustained.
You were asked about confirmation bias.
and as an engineer, there would be times where you need to keep secrets. So you would do it. You just don't have a need for it.
Do you remember those questions?
I do.
Could I have slide 33 of your PowerPoint, please?
Well, in Bev's stupid mind, the fact they talk about conversations and communications he can now get into the manner of communication because Bev's an idiot. So,
33.
Give me a second.
okay, yeah, but there's encrypted and then there's actual encryption.
33.
You could zoom that in, please. A little larger so we can see it.
I cannot do it with one monitor.
You can't do it any closer than that.
Not since I took down. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Which part do you want me to zoom in?
Miss Gilman can zoom in for you.
Sorry? Which part?
Miss Gilman's going to do it for you.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
If you could zoom in, please. Okay. On shift position signal, going forward, then neutral and reverse. Does that data suffer from confirmation bias?
No, that's strictly electronic data.
When we look over at the vehicle speed, can we go to the left a little bit? Down. Vehicle speed ending at 2361 miles per hour. Does that suffer from confirmation bias?
No, again, these are direct readings from the vehicle. Again, that speed on this here, you have to correct for the slippage, which I do later on the slide, but that is a direct reading from what the speedometer is seeing.
Acceleration at the end of that 10-second window, 74%. Does that suffer from confirmation bias?
No, that's a direct reading of a sensor. That's objective information.
Oh, is it?
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Wow.
Anything, Mr. Lessie?
Wow. Who just says wow?
Wow.
That was Welcher saying wow. What an asshole.
Anything, Mr. Lessie?
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Welcher, you were just asked questions about slide 33, which is a slide about text stream data. You acknowledge that text stream data, what you have called a trigger, like was on that slide, does not tell you if a collision even occurred, correct?
Correct.
With regard to the topic of confirmation bias that you were just asked about in slide 33, am I correct that all of the questions that Attorney Brennan just asked you were about data on that slide, correct? All that's on that slide is data, correct?
And he asked me more questions than just this slide.
But were the questions just about data?
On this slide, it was just about data.
Correct. But confirmation bias is really aimed at opinions and conclusions and alternative hypotheses. Isn't that what confirmation bias gets at?
So generally, yes. Again, I started this case with
It was
the
just a question.
hypothesis,
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
with the hypothesis that the Lexus didn't contact Mr. O'Keefe.
Okay,
And
I'm
so
calling
I start what's
BS.
called the null hypothesis, that this didn't happen.
Okay.
And then I look at evidence to either
Okay.
include or exclude the null hypothesis. So
Does anybody
theoretically,
believe
my
him?
confirmational bias starts with a bias that it didn't happen.
Can you point to one?
Does anyone believe this man? I don't. I don't believe him. I don't think anybody believes him.
Document that shows that you analyzed whether there was no contact between the Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe. You point to one document. Is there one document on your slide presentation that analyzed the null hypothesis, as you call it, there being no contact at all? Was there any slides in your direct testimony?
So remember what I said, we start with hypothesis, we get more data, we whittle down our hypothesis to the final answer. I mean, I had 130 slides. I suspect I bored some of these people to death already. So I didn't include everything. There's thousands of photographs in here. There was a bunch of testing I did with the Lexus about backing, pedestrian detection that, removed certain hypotheses. So if I was able to eliminate a hypothesis, I didn't present it here.
Sir, my question is not about you.
All the slides show that, to answer your question.
Sir, my question is there any slide that says alternative hypothesis to whatever the label is, whatever the term, that says no contact between the Lexus vehicle and Mr. O'Keefe? Is there any document that you presented to the jury that shows that?
Any document where those words are written on it?
Correct.
No.
and to work through hypotheses, different ones, in confirmation, and to see whether there's confirmation bias. Have you heard of scientists refer that as showing your math, so to speak, in working through hypotheses, documenting each hypothesis and how and why you rejected them? Have you heard of that term in the scientific world, show your math with confirmation biases and alternative hypotheses? Just a question. Have you heard the idiom, the phrase, show your math?
Your question is, have I ever heard show your math, period?
Associated with the application of various hypotheses to avoid confirmation bias. Have you heard of that term used in that conjunction?
Not really in that
Okay.
context. It's probably, I understand where you're going with it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
No further questions.
Dr. Welcher, you are all set.
Oh my God, thank you. Give me a minute to pack up and I will be out of here. Oh, I am plugged in, yes, thank you.
Excuse me? Yes, you can bring it.
Thank you.
Pick up your garbage. Get your shine box, Judson.
Commonwealth moves to introduce and play clip 26.
Let's see what this. Oh, Jesus. So this is that new docuseries, the most recent one that came out. God, I hope this is not. God, how bad is this one, Karen? Come on, chat.
So I thought, could I run him over? Did he try to get me as I was leaving and I didn't know it? I mean, I've always got the music blasting. It's snowing. I got the wipers going, the heater blasting. Did he come and hit the back of my car and I hit him in the knee and he's drunk and passed out and asphyxiated or something? And then when I hired David, I asked him those questions.
All right. Let's see what this is. Yeah, my producer's like, that's enough. Okay.
Then I had January 29th, like, David, what if, I don't know, what if I ran his foot over or what if I clipped him in the knee and he passed out or went to care for himself and he threw up or passed out and David said, yeah, then you have some element of culpability.
Okay, God, that's actually not that bad. Yeah, if I did it, would I be in trouble? Yes. Okay, yes. If I committed a crime, would I be in trouble for it? Yes. That's not. Oh, Jesus. I was fucking worried for a second. God, I was about to have a heart attack. Like, what does this woman do? This ain't that bad. Woo! 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 Oh. Yes, they're pretty retarded for allowing her to speak at all. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if that's all they got on her, Hank, this is sad. This is all he's got. I mean, yeah, I talked to my attorney and he said if you did it, you're in trouble. Yeah, there are better clips that they could have used. That is not There are far better clips. There are far better clips. Don't pause in the middle. I mean, it's bad. Like, they're all bad, but that's not that bad. God, she's had worse clips out there. There are worse. Is this the last clip? I don't know. Let's see here.
Is it a 207?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth rests.
Okay.
Does counsel want to see me?
We do, Your Honor.
Okay, so should we send the jury out or should?
Well, yes.
So jurors, so everybody can sit. So jurors, the Commonwealth rests. That means that the Commonwealth's case has been presented to you for your consideration. So I need to meet with the lawyers for a few minutes, so we're going to send you back out. I can tell you that it now appears that we're at least on schedule, if not a little ahead of schedule. So we'll send you back out for a short recess. Right. Can counsel come to sidebar, please?
All right, let's see what they talk about here. I don't know. Do they ever come back on the record? Do they ever come back on the record? Oh, it looks like they do. Okay.
Thank you.
I think this is them just saying we're done for the day.
Today, we were able to spend some time this morning. I know we kept you in there almost a half an hour, and we've just spent some time now. So I can tell you that we are ahead of schedule right now. I still need to talk to the lawyers about something tomorrow morning. So we're going to send you home now and have you come back tomorrow morning at 9:30, because today I know we kept you until 9:30, and it doesn't make any sense where I already know I need to talk to the lawyers tomorrow morning to have you here for a 9 o'clock start. So tomorrow will be a full day, and we'll have you here ready to start at 9:30. Okay, so those same cautions. Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into the case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about the case, please disregard it and let us know. And also, please continue to be careful with your social media use. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Rise the jury.
Okay, chat. So that's it. That's the state's case. That's the state's case. I will say, with all these Karen Reed clips, I've had a routine problem with these. And the biggest problem with them is, at the end of the day, these are all like jump, like that's the only one Hank has played that isn't like a jump cut of Karen talking for like 10 seconds. That was Karen giving a full statement. Most of these are like these nasty, deceptive jump cuts. And it's very much like, I use the example of Homer Simpson, when they do like the current affair hard thing. It was like, and you see the clock going back and forth in the background as they edit it. Yeah, this was the first time I'm like, okay, wow, that's actually a statement. That's not the worst statement in the world. If I did it, am I in trouble? No shit, you'd be in trouble. Lally's case is better. No, it wasn't. Lally's case was disgusting. It was bloated. It needed edited and cut down. Do I think Hank Brennan went too close? Yes. But Hank Brennan is scared because Hank Brennan knows half my witnesses suck. You know, the McCabe's, the Alberts, all the MSP guys, they're all disgusting people you wouldn't trust or associate with. So he's got problems with a lot of his witnesses. So he's just sticking with who he can. But Hank's case was far better presented. Speak after not guilty or not before it. Yeah, but here's an issue. There's a bit of an issue here. You know, what I would say is they did this for public support so people would donate and things like that. But also Karen wanted to do it. Ultimately, it's her call. The Yannetti and Jackson also wanted to fight the PR battle. I don't think you have to. You got people like Turtle Boy and people like us here on the internet. But they wanted to fight it, so they took to the battlefield. We'll see if this hurts her or helps her. I think a lot of the jury is going to look at this. I think if Hank had played it as a massive supercut at the end, that would be devastating. Number one. And number two, it wouldn't make all the jump cuts look bad. But yeah, at this point, I have reasonable doubt. I do too. How did John O'Keefe die? We don't know. He's dead, but that's all we know. The ME says it doesn't look like he got hit by a car. Even well-dressed say, like, well, nothing indicates he got hit by a car. So, and yes, there is a really compelling way to present these clips to show how her story changes. Yeah, there's a way they could do this, and Hank did not do that. So, juries love judges. Well, sometimes they do. Yes, this is, guys, this affects how we do trials. And somebody actually asked this question. I saw it earlier. Does this affect how a jury, like how you do trials going forward? Yeah, I always ask, especially after something big. If I don't have anything right now set till the end of the trial, but when if let's say I end up with a trial, later in the summer, like August or September, certainly I'm going to go up to the jurors and be like, did anybody here watch Karen Reed? Has anybody heard about it? What were your opinions on it? What did you hear about it? Yeah, this stuff matters. Anytime there's a big trial like that, you touch on it. You do touch on it. It's very important. That's a weak way to close your case. Well, here Hank thinks it's powerful. So Hank's in there like, ha, 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 I got her now. Like Hank thinks that was a mic drop. I don't think so. Who will the defense bring on first? I don't know. Are you going to get right into ARCA? Are you going to get right into DeSorgo? Are you going to get right into Trooper Paul? I'm sure that they're going to get Trooper Paul at some point, and maybe they do DeSorgo or ARCA first. Maybe you do DeSorgo and then Trooper Paul and then ARCA. I don't know. It's going to be tough. They're going to figure that out. Yes, the state is rested, so it's over. Their main case in chief is done. They cut her off mid-sentence. Yeah, but this one was a little more of like actually in depth. So, aren't those clips prove at most that we're talking involuntary manslaughter? I think so. T-Rex Trucking More says, every time Bev says we're on schedule or ahead of time, I feel it's inherently biased towards the state, and she better keep saying that crap during the defense case. Yes, I will. I will. I agree with you. She can't make it look like the state's sandbagging. So, Maddie B says, Shaw was correct on Boone, wrong on every other thing since I've been a member. I don't think that's correct, but I'll defer to you. And the times I've been wrong, I'm happy to be wrong. Generally. So, Sean's advice is don't be like the toe sucker. Yes. Don't talk to the media. Don't talk to the news. Don't talk about your case. It's on the back of my business card I give to people. Don't talk with anyone. Don't talk about your case to anybody but your attorney. I put that on the back of my cards. Don't talk to anyone. So, Lally had some good ideas. He did have some good ideas, but he poorly executed them. So, Luke says he's going to do it in closing, maybe. I mean, maybe it'll be better, but at that point, the jury's probably going to glaze their eyes over because they'll be like, we've already seen all these boring. If he'd saved it till the end, ooh, buddy. May have been helpful there. Luke says, I don't think you could get it in as an exhibit. I think you could do it as a composite. Are the clips as part of evidence? Yes. Each one of those clips is a separate CD, and the jury's going to have a whole stack of them, and they can play them all if they want to. She clipped them and just told us. I don't think she did there. Going back, like, let's rewind it. Let's rewind this real quick. I don't see it there because we'll go back through this here. Hold on. Let's do this. She doesn't say she clipped him.
So I thought, could I run him over? Did he try to get me as I was leaving and I didn't know it? I mean, what was it?
So right there, she's just speculating. Could I run him over? I don't know. I don't think so. She's talking about possibilities.
The music blasting, it's snowing, I got the wipers going, the heater blasting. Did he come and hit in the back of my car and I hit him in the knee and he's drunk and passed out and asphyxiated or something? And then when
clearly she's saying, did I do that? I don't know. I don't know what happened. She's being honest. She's like, could it? Like, it's maybe.
hired David Yannetti, I asked him those questions the night of January 29th. Like, David, what if, I don't know, what if I ran his foot over? Or what if I clipped him in the knee and he passed out or went to care for himself and threw up or passed out? And David said, yeah, then you have some element of culpability.
Yeah. What if I did it? Am I in trouble? If I hit him, what happened? I'm in trouble. Like, that's not, she's not saying that happened there. It's not a good look to talk about it, period. Now you're saying, because how does this not instantly offer a reasonable doubt? Well, here's the thing. They're not going to get a directed verdict. She's never going to do that. So, let's see. Now, Peter, you're saying, since they played clips, can they do the rule of completeness? I think in Massachusetts, no, this counts as hearsay because it's a self-serving statement. That said, they also may not want to air the rest of the clips. I think in Ohio, you could probably get away with it, but not in Massachusetts. Hank is hiding behind things pretty well here. Oh, they already said that they're going to do Disorga? Okay. Karen announces Disorga? Okay. Sorry, guys. I was trying to catch up on the statements here. Betterow said Arca first. Maybe. Well, who knows? Who knows? Luke says, look, I think you go Arca. Yeah, I think so too. You need to do Arca because you can immediately crush Welcher because it's fresh in the mind. I was right on Richard Allen, unfortunately. Yes, sadly. I think like a lawyer, not like a juror. Well, you know, that's what I do. Can Hank Brandon play the same clip twice? He can at closing. It's an admitted exhibit. You can go through exhibits at closing. So. Garrett says, Sean, they talk about my case. Yeah, Hank still has rebuttal, yes. Could a defense start and finish with Arca? I mean, you could start with like Rentschler and then Wolf. You don't want to do that. You want those guys like it's a punch. And you don't spread your hand. You contain it. And you want to strike as hard as you can. So no, they're gonna strike as hard as they can. We'll see though. So Disorga's the first, okay. Matt says Sean looks at cases like I look at show cars. We see stuff normal people don't. Yeah. So Lulu, I hope that made sense. They can play the clip at closing. So yes, they'll get there. Yeah, she was saying if I clipped him. Yeah, she's trying to figure it out. She's admitting she hit him in the knee. That's not what she said. She's not saying if I did it, am I in trouble? That's not at all what.
So I thought, could I run him over? Did he asphyxiate or something? Back of my car, and I hit him in the knee, and he's drunk and passed out. Did he come and hit the back of my car? And
you have to
hit him in the knee, and he's drunk.
Chat, you have to start with this. Did I look at where she goes here?
Blasting. Did he come?
Did he? Not he did. Did he?
Hit the back of my car.
Here, we're gonna go slow on this. We're gonna go slow on this here. We're gonna do this like a 3x speed, and we're gonna mute it. Did he come and hit the back of my car, and I hit him in the knee, and he's drunk, and passed out, and is asphyxiated or something? And then when I hired, she's saying, did I do that? Is that a possibility? Yes, my watermark too. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, she's just asking what if, guys. Luke is saying, I think Disorga is their key cycle guy. He is. He is their Matthew Burgess or Shannon Burgess. And I assume this guy actually went to fucking college. So, yeah, what if I clipped him in the knee? Yeah. Okay, so Lulu, you're saying is the prosecution allowed to play the multiple clips times, or is it cumulative? They can play it just once. They couldn't just keep it on loop. So, I agree, Darcy. Hit him or what if? I agree. Hank Brennan's going to twist it, but by looking at the words there, I think it's clear that's not what happened. And you have to be careful if you're a prosecutor. If you twist too much stuff out in the jury, they'll realize you're bullshitting them, and they don't like that. So Hank has to be careful. Yes, okay, hold on here. Yes. What if I clipped them, and how did they get twisted? Thank you. Ghost balls. Yes, Karen said to Sorga first after court. It's to Sorga everyone, the end. Thank you, Keith. I'm not going to yell at everybody, though. Johnny says, set expectations low and you'll be less disappointed. Well, yeah, except the expectation low means she goes to prison. So I don't really want that. Tootly Pip says, could defense use the microdots video clips? They would have to bring in microdots. You would have to bring in microdots. He would have to be able to, explain as an expert why he's offering an altered exhibit and how he can modify these clips. So they could, but you'd have to bring him in, and he'd have to satisfy the Daubert standard. So, Darcy said she's also on tape saying she watched him walk in the house. How could she question hitting him when she watched him go inside? If that was I get what you're saying there. If that was really all of it, then why doesn't Hank just play those two right at the end? If that was really Hank's smoking gun, he could have done it like that. And he didn't do that. And that tells you a lot, that he doesn't think this is as damning as it sounds. See. But his phone stopped moving. Yeah, well, that's the thing, too. Let's see. Jurors are weird. Yeah, jurors are a coin flip, guys. It's all a coin flip. There's no YouTubers in court. Yeah, she was also heavily intoxicated, from what we understand. But Tootly Pip, that is a very good question. I think it's a very good one. But you'd have to introduce him and get him admitted as an expert, just like everybody else. Just like Judson Mulcher. He could be an expert. He could be an expert in doing this stuff. But it also might come across as him just Yahoo playing with film editing software. It all depends. But it's a very good question. And then Spud Gun for £5 sterling. The King Sterling. He says, I used to be an adventurer like you, and then I took Alexis in the knee. Yes, it's very bad out there. Captain Manning, I saw what you said earlier about the body cam. I haven't heard anything yet. Afix plays the drunk supercut. Oh, I got to hold on here. Yeah, we'll bring that up because we Afix guys has did some work here on some really good things. Let's see here. Hold on here. All right. So Afix guys, he's done a bunch of these clips so far. Let me see if I can bring it up. Hold on, I gotta grab the Okay, there we go. Sorry, took me a second. I had to grab the Google Drive phone. Where's the drinking on? Oh yeah, the drunk one. Here we go. Oh, hold on, chat. I have to download it real quick. We're gonna download it, and then I gotta upload it into StreamYard. So there we go, chat. It's downloading now. Oh wow, downloaded already. Perfect. And we'll get this uploaded here because that's the easiest way for you guys to see something is when it gets uploaded. Because then there's no problem with the audio. Okay, so let's get back to comments here. I think microdots, if they had did the 3D rendering of the jury, being younger might be pretty credible. It could be, but remember, I think that it's an issue of getting them admitted in time. It's in his thread, but you can also pull it off MCRO. Okay, well, we'll take a look. Hadn't learned about that yet, but we'll bring it up. Island is saying, yeah, she's not facing a DUI on its own, but a DUI is one of the elements of manslaughter. She got drunk and hit him with a car and killed him. That's manslaughter. It's also a DUI because there's the leaving the scene of a DUI accident where a death occurs. So she's got 2 DUI charges, DUI related charges. And at the end of the day, I did say this is a very elaborate DUI trial because there's a ton of information about whether or not she was been drinking. Luke says there's a possible lesser DUI. No one asked for it. I don't know, man. I get what you're saying there. I'd be very curious about it. Doing it that way, but we'll see. Hold on, Chad. I don't know what you're talking about here. But I think going for the DUI, on one hand, that would be hilarious if all she walked out of court was just guilty of DUI because she admitted she'd been drinking and she shouldn't have been driving. Nobody in that town should have been. And that's all she walks away with. That would be mucho hilarioso. But you also run the risk of, well, if she's guilty of that, she's guilty of something else. You run that risk. I think sometimes it's better to get an all or nothing thing. So that's where I'm a little concerned if I'm so hold on one second, chat. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. Alessi's Tiny Hansberg says, gang. Why you gotta be mean to Alessi like that? He's a guy trying to Bob Alessi's trying to do his thing. He's trying to do the right thing here. Yeah, they haven't proven he got hit by a car yet. I agree. I did just pull up that court filing. I'll take a look at it in a second, guys. Get her time served. She did spend a couple days in jail, so. Island says they only convict the DUI if they hit them. There's no separating the two things out. Unless they ask for a lesser included of just DUI. But right now, yes, they can't. Right now. Well, I mean, you can argue that she was drinking and intoxicated. It's just whether or not she hit him. And I think it's clear Karen probably shouldn't have been driving that night. Nobody in that situation, everybody at the Waterfall Bar was heavily intoxicated. So. But that guy said that's what happened, so case closed. Yeah. They could all of them for DUI then. Well, they can't. The jury can only do the one. But yes, they all should have got it. Alessi says your boy Turtle Boy is going to jail too. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, personally, the people he was dealing with are complete pieces of shit. So I support nearly everything he's done to them because they're all fucking scumbags. So. Did they explain how he landed? No. Was that in the blue paint demo? No. There's a reason why. There's a reason why, because Welcher doesn't want to fall down and get hurt. He's an old guy. And even then, nobody's going to voluntarily stand there and get hit by a car. Remember, he said, like, I'm not going to let that car hit me at 20 miles an hour. Why not? Wear some pads. You'll be okay. It's because he knows he would get severely injured. Welcher is a scumbag. That's why he didn't do it. Matt says, did they ever explain how the taillight broke? It's not clear. It's not clear. Jefferson Post says, by that logic, the roads in Massachusetts would be empty. Island says the real reason is that you'd end up under the car and not thrown 30 feet. And that's exactly my point. Remember, we went over this, chat. The reason why Welcher stands in the weird stance he does, it spins out so adaptly. It's because he doesn't want to get run over by the car. When you're messing around in the back of a car, it's very easy to get like knocked over or sucked into the wheels, you know, and you get run over and that's it. You break your legs or something. So there's a reason why that happened. If Karen hit John, are those people really scumbags? Yes. Why do you destroy all your evidence? Like, they're not nice people. I mean, that's the point. Like, they're not nice people. So I have no sympathy for them. I have no sympathy for people who destroy evidence. You know, I'm not here to argue with these people. Actually, hold on, chat. Okay. The Commonwealth didn't prove their case. Case closed. Well, I don't know about that. We'll see. Do I know there's a clip of me on Alyssa Clips? Yes, I do. Yes, I'm aware of that. Somebody that it's been out there for a little while. Yes, I'm aware of it. So, is there a Maddie? Yes, Matt at the internet. That's on Null's stream. So, yeah. Adaptly, Sean? Are you sure he didn't use all his evasion? Oh. Is Jersey suing Candy, Ohio County now? They probably will be. So, not nice people isn't a good case, buddy. I'm telling you. He did journalism. I may not agree with all the journalism, but First Amendment uber alles. And if you want to if you're a troll, okay. But in reality, if you're going to let, Brian Higgins or Brian Albert drag their nuts across your face, that's between you and your God. So, but yes, the drunk stuff. Here we go, chat. I think we're going to end on this here because I do have some things I need to take care of before the 9:30 show. But here we go. This is, turn your sound down. It's going to be a little loud. Just warning you guys right now. But turn your sound down just a hair. Because this is from Afix, and this is actually a pretty funny clip. And Afix, man, you need to put all this stuff on YouTube. You'll get like a gajillion views here. So, but anyways, yeah, here we go. This is actually pretty funny. So, this is from the first trial, I believe.
Was that she hit John.
Shows she had up to 9 drinks that evening. When you walked out of the bar with her car,
drinking, she killed him.
I hit him.
Framed
with my car. And who murdered him. And there are others in the house who are covering.
I hit him.
I hit him in the knee and he was drunk.
Driving drunk, and she had hit John with her car.
Wonderful.
Asked her, could I have hit him? Did I?
Was killed.
Degree murder, which is essentially murder.
Says that you drink with her car, drinking. You're half drunk. You're all drunk. Did you kill John O'Keefe?
I did.
I hit him.
I remember everything. I said, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? I mean, I'm not as clear as I would be if I hadn't been drinking. I mean, I had drank, so, and that led me to question, like, could I drink it? And then they buy a round of shots, and I pour that into the drink. So that one drink.
So drunk after a night of drinking.
Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? She hit him.
Keith with her. I hit him.
I hit him. Did I hit him? Could I have hit him?
With my car. John's body mark. Did I?
She hit him.
Receives drink number 1. 9:57 p.m. Drink number 5. 10:29 p.m.
I hit him.
Personally, give
drinks. So those two, the drink profile.
I hit him. I hit him.
I hit him.
I hit him.
Oh, murder carnival. It's as though she was the happiest murder defendant in America, walking a red carpet on the way into her own murder.
He looks like he got hit by a car. He looks like he got hit by a car.
Indicating I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
I said I drunk drive.
Killed. Murder. Guilty. That she killed. You had 4 drinks. They say 9 drinks.
So I hit John. I hit him.
He's asking a question.
I don't remember anything from last night. She said, do you think I hit him? Do you think I hit him?
I hit him.
Kill her boyfriend, a Boston police officer, Or was she framed?
She had
Told people that Karen Reed had been drinking.
I hit him, killed Johnny.
They say that I'm a drunk of murder.
Someone else killed John O'Keefe.
Okay, guys, like, this is not giving any relevant data. Well, like, it's not meant to blow the case open. It's Aphex put a lot of stuff together. I think they're kind of humorous, and it's kind of interesting to see how alcohol was put together. And I thought I had a little bit of a chuckle. Not everything is to be taken seriously, guys. Alexi's Tiny Hansberg. If they came in and wearing Superman capes, Jim, you'd be sucking their balloon knots with a straw. I mean, if you think this is like, if you think the way that any of this investigation has been conducted is proper and good, and you want to put people in a metal box for it, by all means, I don't think this is how it should happen. So, her accent is way better than the terrible Canton accent. Well, you got to be fair. This is what the Commonwealth is doing. Yes. So, remember the Arctic came in to put Karen away, and they're now on the defense list. Yeah, we'll see. Did you go over the new? No, I have not had a chance to go. I haven't had a chance to read it. Minority Report. If you guys would like to go over that information tonight, you guys could join us on the crime stream tonight at 9:30. We'll go over everything that's out there, and I have to make a phone call or two related to this. So let me take a look at some things, but I have not had a chance to read it. So we'll take a look. We'll take a look. It does sound funny that Nick is running to the people who prosecuted him and is begging for their help. Kind of life's funny like that. Life's funny like that. So I just so we'll see. We'll see there, chat. Anyways, we will go ahead and, like I said, cover everything tomorrow and address the matters. So hang around with us and we'll take a look. Is it on my channel? Yes, it's going to be here on this channel, guys. 9:30 Eastern right here. So that's what we'll be moving on to here in 1 second. Let me see here. What's the other thing too? Guys, we got a bunch of other funny stuff we'll be covering tonight. Very interesting things. And there we go. Hold on, chat. I got to set this. Why is this not set right? This way I'm going to set it up so I can redirect you guys. Because I know a bunch of people are like, well, where do I go? Where do I go? And we're going to redirect you so you got no excuse. So there we go. Oh, who just messaged me, by the way? Oh, a bunch of people did here. So let me see. We'll be covering Diddy. We'll be covering a lot of stuff tonight, guys. Sorry for that dead air there. Just a second. Is there truth to the Fed boys showing up to ask questions about Clyde's side gig? No. And shh. Don't you ask about that. Let me see here. Jefferson C. Poe says, yes, the state is evil. And then it says, help me, Daddy State. Yes. Yes, it's 95 minutes, chat. 95 minutes away. So. All right. So, guys, that is it for us. The defense starts up tomorrow. This should be good tomorrow night. Guys, if you are new, we do this every night late just because I'm out and about during the day. And I like being able to speed through all the breaks, and we can kind of get it done at a decent rate. I mean, look, we got done super, super short amount of time. We'll start tomorrow night, 6 p.m., and we'll get it done probably, 10:30, 11. Be done for the night. We'll probably hang out afterwards. But that is our game plan. That's the way we do it every night. Hope to see you there. Let's see what the defense starts out with. But until next time, chat, really until 9:30, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Remember that. And Karen Reed is still not guilty. I'm still not been convinced beyond a reasonable doubt she's guilty. So take care, chat, and I'll see you guys at 9:30.
Weapons blacksmithing and models of planes, esoteric works and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick hated yelled at?